Chapters 81 through 90 of the Egyptian Book of the Dead by E. A. Wallis Budge. Chapter 81a. Vignette in the Papyrus of Nebseni. The vignette of this chapter is simply a lotus flower in full bloom. But in the Papyrus of Ani a human head is seen springing from the lotus which is growing in a pool of water. Text: the chapter of making the transformation into a lotus. The overseer of the palace, the chancellor in chief Nu, saith, I am the pure lotus which springeth up from the divine splendor that belongeth to the nostrils of Ra. I have made my way, and I follow on seeking for him who is Horus. I am the pure one who cometh forth out of the field. Chapter 81b. Vignette: a human head springing from a lotus. Text: the chapter of making the transformation into a lotus. Saith Osiris Pakwer, Hail, thou lotus, thou type of the god Nefer Temu! I am the man that knoweth you, and I know your names among those of the gods, the lords of the underworld, and I am one of you. Grant ye that I may see the gods who are the divine guides in the Tuat (underworld), and grant ye unto me a place in the underworld, near unto the lords of Amentet. Let me arrive at a habitation in the land of Tchesert, and receive me, O all ye gods, in the presence of the lords of eternity. Grant that my soul may come forth whithersoever it pleaseth, and let it not be driven away from the presence of the great company of the gods. Chapter 82. Vignette: the god Ptah in a shrine, before which is a table of offerings. Text: the chapter of making the transformation into Ptah, of eating cakes, and of drinking ale, and of unfettering the steps, and of becoming a living being in Annu (Heliopolis). The chancellor in chief Nu, triumphant, saith, I fly like a hawk, I cackle like the smen goose, and I perch upon that abode of the underworld Aat, on the festival of the great being. That which is an abomination unto me, that which is an abomination unto me, I have not eaten. Filth is an abomination unto me, and I have not eaten thereof. And that which is an abomination unto my Ka hath not entered into my belly. Let me then live upon that which the gods and the Khus decree for me. Let me live, and let me have power over cakes. Let me eat them before the gods and the Khus who have a favor unto me. Let me have power over these cakes, and let me eat of them under the shade of the leaves of the palm tree of the goddess Hathor, who is my divine lady. Let the offering of the sacrifice and the offering of cakes and vessels of libations be made in Annu. Let me clothe myself in the ta'au garment which I shall receive from the hand of the goddess Ta'it. Let me stand up and let me sit down wheresoever I please. My head is like unto that of Ra, and when my members are gathered together, I am like unto Tem, the four sides of the domain of Ra, and the width of the earth four times. I come forth. My tongue is like unto that of Ptah, and my throne is like unto that of the goddess Hathor, and I make mention of the words of Tem, my father, with my mouth. He it is who constraineth the handmaid, the wife of Seb, and before him are bowed all heads, and there is fear of him. Hymns of praise are repeated for me by reason of my mighty acts, and I am decreed to be the divine hair of Seb, the lord of the earth, and to be the protector therein. The god Seb refresheth me, and he maketh his risings to be mine. Those who dwell in Annu bow down their heads unto me, for I am their lord, and I am their bull. I am more powerful than the lord of time, and I shall enjoy the pleasures of love, and shall gain the mastery over millions of years. Chapter 83. Vignette: a Bennu bird. Text: the chapter of making the transformation into a Bennu bird. The chancellor in chief, Nu, triumphant, saith, I came into being from unformed matter. I came into existence like the god Khepera. I have germinated like the things which germinate, that is, plants. And I have dressed myself like the tortoise. I am of the germs of every god. I am yesterday of the four quarters of the world, and of those seven uraei which came into existence in Amentet, that is to say, Horus, who emitteth light from his divine body. He is the god who fought against Suti, but the god Thoth cometh between them through the judgment of him that dwelleth in Sekhem, and of the souls who are in Annu, and there is a stream between them. I have come by day, and I have risen in the footsteps of the gods. I am the god Khensu, who driveth back all that oppose him. Rubric: if this chapter be known by the deceased, he shall come forth pure by day after his death, and he shall perform whatsoever transformations his heart desireth. He shall be in the following of Un Nefer, and he shall be satisfied with the food of Osiris and with sepulchral meals. He shall see the disk, he shall be in good case upon earth before Ra, and he shall be triumphant before Osiris, and no evil thing whatsoever shall have dominion over him for ever and ever. Chapter 84. Vignette: a heron. Text: the chapter of making the transformation into a heron. The chancellor in chief, Nu, triumphant, saith: I have gotten dominion over the beasts that are brought for sacrifice, with the knives which are held at their heads, and at their hair, and at their Hail, aged ones! Hail, Khus, who are provided with the opportunity! The chancellor in chief, the overseer of the palace, Nu, triumphant, is upon the earth, and what he hath slaughtered is in heaven. And what he hath slaughtered is in heaven, and he is upon the earth. Behold, I am strong, and I work mighty deeds to the very heights of heaven. I have made myself pure, and I make the breadth of heaven a place for my footsteps as I go into the cities of Aukert. I advance, and I go forward into the city of Unu, Hermopolis. I have set the gods upon their paths, and I have roused up the exalted ones who dwell in their shrines. Do I not know Nu? Do I not know Tatunen? Do I not know the beings of the color of fire who thrust forward their horns? Do I not know every being having incantations unto whose words I listen? I am the Samam, bull for slaughter, which is written down in the books. The gods crying out say, Let your faces be gracious to him that cometh onward. The light is beyond your knowledge, and ye cannot fetter it, and times and seasons are in my body. I do not utter words to the god Hu. I do not utter words of wickedness instead of words of right and truth, and each day right and truth come upon my eyebrows. At night taketh place the festival of him that is dead, the aged one who is in ward in the earth. Chapter 85. Vignette: a soul. Text: the chapter of making the transformation into a living soul, and of not entering into the chamber of torture. Whosoever knoweth it shall not see corruption. The chancellor in chief, Nu, triumphant, saith: I am the divine soul of Ra, proceeding from the god Nu, that divine soul which is God. I am the creator of the divine food, and that which is an abomination unto me is sin whereon I look not. I proclaim right and truth, and I live therein. I am the divine food which is not corrupted in my name of soul. I gave birth unto myself together with Nu in my name of Khepera, in whom I come into being day by day. I am the Lord of light, and that which is an abomination unto me is death. Let me not go into the chamber of torture which is in the Tuat underworld. I ascribe honor unto Osiris, and I make to be at peace the hearts of those beings who dwell among the divine things which I love. They cause the fear of me to abound, and they create awe of me in those beings who dwell in their divine territories. Behold, I am exalted upon my standard, and upon my seat, and upon the throne which is a judge to me. I am the god Nu, and the workers of iniquity shall not destroy me. I am the firstborn god of primeval matter, that is to say, the divine soul, even the souls of the gods of everlastingness, and my body is eternity. My form is everlastingness, and is the lord of years, and the prince of eternity. I am the creator of the darkness, who maketh his habitation in the uttermost parts of the sky, which I love, and I arrive at the confines thereof. I advance upon my feet, I become master of my vine, I sail over the sky which formeth the division betwixt heaven and earth. I destroy the hidden worms that travel nigh unto my footsteps, which are towards the Lord of the two hands and arms. My soul is the soul of the souls of everlastingness, and my body is eternity. I am the divine exalted being, who is the Lord of the land of Tebu. I am the boy in the city, and the young man in the plain is my name. He that never suffereth corruption is my name. I am the soul, the creator of the god Nu, who maketh his habitation in the underworld. My place of incubation is unseen, and my egg is not cracked. I have done away with all my iniquity, and I shall see my divine Father, the Lord of Eventide, whose body dwelleth in Annu. I travel to the god of Night, who dwelleth with the god of Light, by the western region of the Ibis. Thoth. Chapter 86. Vignette: A swallow perched upon a conical object. Text: The Chapter of making the transformation into a swallow. The Chancellor in Chief, Nu, triumphant, saith: I am a swallow, I am a swallow, I am the scorpion, the daughter of Ra. Hail, ye gods, whose scent is sweet! Hail, ye gods, whose scent is sweet! Hail, flame, which cometh forth from the horizon! Hail, thou who art in the city! I have brought the warden of his bite therein. O stretch out unto me thy hand, so that I may be able to pass my days in the pool of double fire, and let me advance with my message, for I have come with words to tell. O open thou the doors to me, and I will declare the things which have been seen by me. Horus hath become the divine prince of the boat of the sun, and unto him hath been given the throne of his divine father Osiris, and Set, that son of Nut, lieth under the fetters which he had made for me. I have made a computation of what is in the city of Sekhem. I have stretched out both my hands and arms at the word of Osiris. I have passed on to judgment, and I have come that I may speak. Grant that I may pass on and declare my tidings. I enter in, I am judged, and I come forth worthy at the gate of Neb er Cher. I am pure at the great place of the passage of souls. I have done away with my sins, I have put away mine offences, and I have destroyed the evil which appertained unto my members upon earth. Hail, ye divine beings who guard the doors, make ye for me a way, for, behold, I am like unto you. I have come forth by day, I have journeyed on my legs, I have gained the mastery over my footsteps before the god of light. I know the hidden ways and the doors of the Sekhet Aaru. Verily, I, even I, have come. I have overthrown mine enemies upon earth, and yet my perishable body is in the grave. Rubric: if this chapter be known by the deceased, he shall come forth by day, he shall not be turned back at any gate in the underworld, and he shall make his transformation into a swallow regularly and continually. Chapter 87. Vignette: The serpent Sata with human legs. Text: The Chapter of making the transformation into the serpent Sata. The Chancellor in Chief, Nu, triumphant, saith: I am the serpent Sata, whose years are many. I die, and I am born again each day. I am the serpent Sata, which dwelleth in the uttermost parts of the earth. I die, and I am born again, and I renew myself, and I grow young each day. Chapter 88. Vignette: A crocodile upon a pylon or gateway. Text: The Chapter of making the transformation into a crocodile. The Chancellor in Chief, Nu, triumphant, saith: I am the divine crocodile which dwelleth in his terror. I am the divine crocodile, and I seize my prey like a ravening beast. I am the great and mighty fish which is in the city of Kemur. I am the Lord to whom bowing and prostrations are made in the city of Sekhem. Chapter 89. Vignette: The mummy of the deceased lying upon a bier. Above is his soul in the form of a human-headed bird, holding Shen, the emblem of eternity, in its claws. Text: The Chapter of causing the soul to be united to its body in the underworld. The Osiris Ani, triumphant, saith: Hail, thou god An-iu, that is, bringer! Hail, thou god Perer, that is, runner, who dwellest in thy hall! Hail, great God! Grant thou that my soul may come unto me from wheresoever it may be. If it would tarry, then let my soul be brought unto me from wheresoever it may be, for thou shalt find the Eye of Horus standing by thee, like unto those beings who are like unto Osiris. and who never lie down in death. Let not the Osiris Ani, triumphant, lie down in death among those who lie down in Annu, the land wherein souls are joined unto their bodies even in thousands. Let me have possession of my Ba soul, and of my Khu, and let me triumph therewith in every place wheresoever it may be. Observe these things which I speak, for it hath staves with it. Observe then, O ye divine guardians of heaven, my soul, wheresoever it may be. If it would tarry, do thou make my soul look upon my body, for thou shalt find the Eye of Horus standing by thee like those beings who are like unto Osiris. Hail, ye gods, who tow along the boat of the Lord of millions of years, who bring it above the underworld, and who make it to travel over Nut, who make souls to enter into their spiritual bodies, whose hands are filled with your ropes, and who clutch your weapons tight, destroy ye the enemy. Thus shall the boat of the sun be glad, and the great god shall set out on his journey in peace. And behold, grant ye that the soul of Osiris Ani, triumphant, may come forth before the gods, and that it may be triumphant along with you in the eastern part of the sky, to follow unto the place where it was yesterday, and that it may have peace, peace and Amentet. May it look upon its material body, may it rest upon its spiritual body, and may its body neither perish nor suffer corruption for ever. Rubric: these words are to be said over a soul of gold inlaid with precious stones, and placed on the breast of Osiris. Chapter 90. Vignette: a jackal walking towards the funeral mountain, or the deceased standing upright in the presence of the god Thoth, who is about to give unto him a roll of papyrus. Text: the chapter of driving evil recollections from the mouth. The overseer of the palace, the chancellor in chief, Nu, triumphant, the son of the overseer of the palace, the chancellor in chief, Amenhetep, triumphant, saith: Hail, thou that cuttest off heads and slittest brows, thou being who puttest away the memory of evil things from the mouth of the Khus by means of the incantations which they have within them, look not upon me with the same eyes with which thou lookest upon them. Go thou round about on thy legs, and let thy face be turned behind thee, so that thou mayest be able to see the divine slaughterers of the god Shu, who are coming up behind thee to cut off thy head and to slit thy brow by reason of the message of violence sent by thy Lord, and to see that which thou sayest. Work thou for me so that the memory of evil things shall dart from my mouth. Let not my head be cut off, let not my brow be slit, and let not my mouth be shut fast by reason of the incantations which thou hast within thee, according to that which thou doest for the Khus through the incantations which they have within themselves. Get thee back and depart at the sound of the two speeches which the goddess Isis uttered when thou didst come to cast the recollection of evil things into the mouth of Osiris by the will of Suti his enemy, saying, Let thy face be towards thy privy parts, and look upon that face which cometh forth from the flame of the Eye of Horus against thee from within the Eye of Tem, and the calamity of that night which shall consume thee. And Osiris went back, for the abomination of thee was in him, and thou didst go back, for the abomination of him is in thee. I have gone back, for the abomination of thee is in me, and thou shalt go back, for the abomination of me is in thee. Thou wouldst come unto me, but I say that thou shalt not advance to me, so that I come to an end, and I say then to the divine slaughterers of the god Shu, Depart. End of chapters 81 through 90. Chapters 91 through 100 of the Egyptian Book of the Dead by E. A. Wallis Budge. Chapter 91. Vignette: the soul of the deceased in the form of a human-headed bird standing in front of a pylon. Text: the chapter of not letting the soul of Nu, triumphant, be captive in the underworld. He saith: Hail, thou who art exalted! Hail, thou who art adored! O thou mighty one of souls, thou divine soul, thou possessor of terrible power, who dost put the fear of thyself into the gods, thou who art crowned upon thy throne of majesty, I pray thee to make a way for the Ba (soul), and for the Khu, and for the Khaibit (shade) of the overseer of the palace, the chancellor in chief, Nu, triumphant, and let him be provided therewith. I am a perfect Khu, and I have made my way unto the place wherein dwell Ra and Hathor. Rubric: if this chapter be known by the deceased, he shall be able to transform himself into a Khu, provided with his soul and with his shade in the underworld, and he shall never be held captive at any door in Amentet, in entering in or in coming out. Chapter 92. Vignette: the soul of the deceased in the form of a human-headed bird flying out from the doorway of the tomb. Variant vignettes represent the deceased as having opened the door of the tomb and having his soul by his side, or as standing before the open door with hands stretched out to embrace his soul. An interesting vignette represents the disk of the sun with rays shooting forth from it above the tomb, and the soul of the deceased hovering over his shade, drawn in solid black color, which has just emerged therefrom. Text: the chapter of opening the tomb to the soul and to the shade of Osiris, the scribe Nebseni, the lord of reverence, born of the lady of the house Mut Restha, triumphant, so that he may come forth by day and have dominion over his feet. He saith, that which was shut fast hath been opened, that is to say, he that lay down in death hath been opened, that which was open hath been shut to my soul through the command of the Eye of Horus, which hath strengthened me, and which maketh to stand fast the beauties which are upon the forehead of Ra, whose strides are long as he lifteth up his legs in journeying. I have made for myself a way, my members are mighty and are strong. I am Horus the avenger of his divine father. I am he who bringeth along his divine father, and who bringeth along his mother by means of his scepter. And the way shall be opened unto him who hath gotten dominion over his feet, and he shall see the great God in the boat of Ra, when souls are counted therein at the bows, and when the years also are counted up. Grant that the Eye of Horus, which maketh the adornments of light to be firm upon the forehead of Ra, may deliver my soul for me, and let there be darkness upon your faces, O ye who would hold fast Osiris. O keep not captive my soul, O keep not ward over my shade, but let a way be opened for my soul and for my shade, and let them see the great God in the shrine on the day of the judgment of souls. And let them recite the utterances of Osiris, whose habitations are hidden, to those who guard the members of Osiris, and who keep ward over the Khus, and who hold captive the shades of the dead who would work evil against me, so that they shall not work evil against me. May a way for thy double Ka along with thee and along with thy soul be prepared by those who keep ward over the members of Osiris, and who hold captive the shades of the dead. Heaven shall not keep thee, the earth shall not hold thee captive. Thou shalt not have thy being with the divine beings who make slaughter, but thou shalt have dominion over thy legs, and thou shalt advance to thy body straightway in the earth, and to those who belong to the shrine, and guard the members of Osiris. Chapter 93. Vignette: a buckle with human hands and arms, which grasp the deceased by his left arm. In the Ani Papyrus and in the Sa'ite Recension, the vignette shews the deceased standing with both hands raised in adoration before a god who is seated in a boat, and who has his head turned so that his face looks backwards. Text: the chapter of not sailing to the east in the underworld. The chancellor in chief, Nu, triumphant, saith: "Hail, phallus of Ra, who departest from thy calamity which ariseth through opposition. The cycles have been without movement for millions of years. I am stronger than the strong, I am mightier than the mighty. If I sail away, or if I be snatched away to the east through the two horns, or, as others say, if any evil and abominable thing be done unto me at the feast of the devils, the phallus of Ra shall be swallowed up, along with the head of Osiris. And behold me, for I journey along over the fields wherein the gods mow down those who make reply unto their words. Now verily the two horns of the god Khepera shall be thrust aside, and verily pus shall spring into being in the Eye of Tem, along with corruption, if I be kept in restraint, or if I have gone towards the east, or if the feast of devils be made in my presence, or if any malignant wound be inflicted upon me. Chapter 94. Vignette: the deceased seated with a table before him on which rest an ink pot and the palette of a scribe. In the Sa'ite Recension the deceased is offering an ink pot and a palette to the god Thoth. Text: the chapter of praying for an ink pot and for a palette. The chancellor in chief, Nu, triumphant, saith: "Hail, aged god, who dost behold thy divine father, and who art the guardian of the book of Thoth! Behold, I have come, I am endowed with glory, I am endowed with strength, I am filled with might, and I am supplied with the books of Thoth, and I have brought them to enable me to pass through the god Aker, who dwelleth in Set. I have brought the ink pot and the palette as being the objects which are in the hands of Thoth. Hidden is that which is in them. Behold me in the character of a scribe. I have brought the offal of Osiris, and I have written thereon. I have made, that is, copied, the words of the great and beautiful god each day fairly. O Heru Khuti, thou didst order me, and I have made, that is, copied, what is right and true, and I do bring it unto thee each day." Chapter 95. Vignette: the deceased standing before Thoth with both hands raised in adoration of the god. In the Papyrus of User-hat, which probably belongs to the period of the 18th dynasty, the vignette is a goose, but this arises from the fact that the chapter is there called the chapter of making the transformation into a goose. Text: the chapter of being nigh unto Thoth. The chancellor in chief, Nu, triumphant, saith: "I am he who sendeth forth terror into the powers of rain and thunder, and I ward off from the great divine lady the attacks of violence. I have smitten like the god Shat, that is, the god of slaughter, and I have poured out libations of cool water like the god Ashu, and I have worked for the great divine lady to ward off the attacks of violence. I have made to flourish my knife along with the knife which is in the hand of Thoth in the powers of rain and thunder." Chapters 96 and 97. Vignette: the deceased standing behind the god Thoth. Text: the chapter of being nigh unto Thoth and of giving glory unto a man in the underworld. The chancellor in chief, Nu, triumphant, saith: "I am the god Her Abmeat, that is, he that is within his eye, and I have come to give right and truth to Ra. I have made Suti to be at peace with me by means of offerings made to the god Aker and to the Tesheru deities, and by making reverence unto Seb." The following words are to be recited in the Sektet boat: "Hail, scepter of Anubis! I have made the four Khus who are in the train of the Lord of the universe to be at peace with me, and I am the Lord of the fields through their decree. I am the divine father Ba, that is, the god of the water flood, and I do away with the thirst of him that keepeth ward over the lakes. Behold ye me, then, O great gods of majesty, who dwell among the souls of Annu, for I am lifted up over you. I am the god Menkh, that is, gracious one, who dwelleth among you. Verily, I have cleansed my soul, O great God of majesty. Set not before me the evil obstacles which issue from thy mouth, and let not destruction come round about me or upon me. I have made myself clean in the lake of making to be at peace, and in the lake of weighing in the balance, and I have bathed myself in Netert Utchat, which is under the holy sycamore tree of heaven. Behold, I am bathed, and I have triumphed over all mine enemies straightway who come forth and rise up against right and truth. I am right and truth in the earth, I, even I, have spoken with my mouth, which is the power of the Lord, the only One, Ra the Mighty, who liveth upon right and truth. Let not injury be inflicted upon me, but let me be clothed on the day of those who go forward to every good thing. Chapter 98. Vignette in the Theban Papyri. This Chapter has no vignette. In the Sa'ite Recension, the vignette represents the deceased standing with his right hand outstretched in the act of addressing a god who is seated in a boat. Text: the Chapter of bringing along a boat in heaven. The Chancellor in Chief, triumphant, saith: Hail to thee, O thou Thigh, which dwellest in the northern heaven in the great lake, which art seen and which diest not. I have stood up over thee when thou didst rise like a god. I have seen thee, and I have not lain down in death. I have stood over thee, and I have risen like a god. I have cackled like a goose, and I have alighted like the hawk by the divine clouds and by the great dew. I have journeyed from the earth to heaven. The god Shu hath made me to stand up. The god of light hath made me to be vigorous by the two sides of the ladder, and the stars which never rest set me on my way and bring me away from slaughter. I bring along with me the things which drive back calamities, as I advance over the passage of the god Pen. Thou comest, how great art thou, O god Pen! I have come from the pool of flame which is in the Sekhet Sasa, that is, the field of fire. Thou livest in the pool of flame in Sekhet Sasa, and I live upon the staff of thy holy god. Hail, thou god Ka, who dost bring those things which are in the boats by thee. I stand up in the boat, and I guide myself over the water. I have stood up in the boat, and the god hath guided me. I have stood up, I have spoken, I am master of the crops. I sail round about us as I go forward. And the gates which are in Sekhem, Letopolis, are opened unto me, and fields are awarded unto me in the city of Unnu, Hermopolis, and labours are given unto me, together with those of my own flesh and bone. Chapter 99. Vignette: the deceased and a boatman in a boat. Text: the Chapter of bringing along a boat in the underworld. The Chancellor in Chief, Nu, triumphant, saith: Hail, ye who bring along the boat over the evil back of Apepi! Grant that I may bring the boat along, and coil up its ropes in peace, in peace. Come, come, hasten, hasten, for I have come to see my father Osiris, the lord of the Ansi garment, who hath gained the mastery with joy of heart. Hail, Lord of the rain storm, thou male, thou sailor! Hail, thou who dost sail over the evil back of Apep! Hail, thou that dost bind up heads, and dost stablish the bones of the neck when thou comest forth from the knives! Hail, thou who art in charge of the hidden boat, who dost fetter Apep! Grant that I may bring along the boat, and that I may coil up the ropes, and that I may sail forth therein. This land is baleful, and the stars have overbalanced themselves, and have fallen upon their faces therein, and they have not found anything which will help them to ascend again. Their path is blocked by the tongue of Ra. Antebu is the guide of the two lands. Seb is stablished through their rudders, the power which openeth the disk. The prince of the red beings, I am brought along like him that hath suffered shipwreck. Grant that my Khu, my brother, may come to me, and that I may set out for the place whereof thou knowest. Tell me my name, saith the wood whereat I would anchor. Lord of the two lands, who dwellest in the shrine, is thy name. Tell me my name, saith the rudder. Leg of Hapiu is thy name. Tell me my name, saith the rope. Hair with which Anpu, Anubis, finisheth the work of my embalmment, is thy name. Tell us our name, say the Ores. Pillars of the underworld is your name. Tell me my name, saith the hold. Akar is thy name. Tell me my name, saith the mast. He who bringeth back the great lady after she hath gone away is thy name. Tell me my name, saith the lower deck. Standard of Apuat is thy name. Tell me my name, saith the upper post. Throat of Mestha is thy name. Tell me my name, saith the sail. Nut is thy name. Tell us our name, say the pieces of leather. Ye who are made from the hide of the Menevis bull which was burned by Suti is your name. Tell us our name, say the paddles. fingers of Horus, the firstborn, is your name. Tell me my name, saith the Machebet. The hand of Isis, which wipeth away the blood from the eye of Horus, is thy name. Tell us our names, say the planks which are in its hulk. Mesthi, Hapi, Tuamautef, Qeb Senuf, Haqua, that is he who leadeth away captive, Thetem Awa, that is he who seizeth by violence, Mea Antef, that is he who seeth what the father bringeth, and Ari Neth Teseth, that is he who made himself, are your names. Tell us our name, say the bows. He who is at the head of his gnomes is your name. Tell me my name, saith the hull. Mert is thy name. Tell me my name, saith the rudder. Aqua, that is true one, is thy name. O thou who shinest from the water, hidden beam is thy name. Tell me my name, saith the keel. Thigh or leg of Isis, which Ra cut off with the knife to bring blood into the Sektet boat, is thy name. Tell me my name, saith the sailor. Traveller is thy name. Tell me my name, saith the wind by which thou art borne along. The north wind, which cometh from Tem to the nostrils of Khenti Amenti, is thy name. Tell me my name, saith the river. If thou wouldst travel upon me, those which can be seen is thy name. Tell us our names, say the river banks. Destroyer of the god Iua, that is he of the spacious hand in the waterhouse, is thy name. Tell me my name, saith the ground, if thou wouldst walk upon me. The nose of heaven, which proceedeth from the god Utu, who dwelleth in the Sekhet Aaru, and who cometh forth with rejoicing therefrom, is thy name. Then shall be recited before them these words: Hail to you, O ye divine beings with splendid Kas, ye divine lords of things, who exist and who live forever, and whose double period of an illimitable number of years is eternity. I have made a way unto you. Grant ye me food and sepulchral meals for my mouth, and grant that I may speak therewith, and that the goddess Isis may give me loaves and cakes in the presence of the great God. I know the great God before whose nostrils ye place tchefau food, and his name is Thechem. Both when he maketh his way from the eastern horizon of heaven, and when he journeyeth into the western horizon of heaven, may his journey be my journey, and his going forth my going forth. Let me not be destroyed at the Mesket chamber, and let not the devils gain dominion over my members. I have my cakes in the city of Pe, and I have my ale in the city of Tepu, and let the offerings which are given unto you be given unto me this day. Let my offerings be wheat and barley. Let my offerings be anti, unguent, and linen garments. Let my offerings be for life, strength, and health. Let my offerings be a coming forth by day in any form whatsoever, in which it may please me to appear in Sekhet Aaru. Rubric: if this chapter be known by the deceased, he shall come forth into Sekhet Aaru, and bread and wine and cakes shall be given unto him at the altar of the great God, and fields and an estate sown with wheat and barley, which the followers of Horus shall reap for him, and he shall eat of that wheat and barley, and his limbs shall be nourished therewith, and his body shall be like unto the bodies of the gods, and he shall come forth into Sekhet Aaru in any form whatsoever he pleaseth, and he shall appear therein regularly and continually. Chapters 100 and 129. Vignette: a boat wherein stand the deities Isis, Thoth, Khepera, and Shu, and the deceased sailing on a stream. The vignette in the Sa'ite Recension shows the deceased poling along a boat wherein are Ra and the Bennu bird, and in front of the boat stand the emblem of the East, the god Osiris, and the Tet, that is, the emblem of Osiris and of stability. The four short lines of text written over the boat read: "The overseer of the palace, the chancellor in chief, Nu, triumphant, raiseth up the Tet and establisheth the buckle, and he saileth with Ra into any place that he pleaseth." Text: the book of making perfect the khu and of causing him to go forth into the boat of Ra along with those who are in his following. The overseer of the palace, the chancellor in chief, Nu, triumphant, saith: I have brought the divine Bennu to the east, and Osiris to the city of Tatu. I have opened the treasure houses of the god Hop. I have made clean the roads of the Disk, and I have drawn the god Sekeri along upon his sledge. The mighty and divine lady hath made me strong at her hour. I have praised and glorified the Disk, and I have united myself unto the divine apes who sing at the dawn, and I am a divine being among them. I have made myself a counterpart of the goddess Isis, and her power Khu hath made me strong. I have tied up the rope, I have driven back Apep, I have made him to walk backwards. Ra hath stretched out to me both his hands, and his mariners have not repulsed me. My strength is the strength of the Utchat, and the strength of the Utchat is my strength. If the overseer of the house, the chancellor in chief, Nu, triumphant, be separated from the boat of Ra, then shall he, that is Ra, be separated from the egg and from the Abtu fish. Rubric. This chapter shall be recited over the design which hath been drawn above, and it shall be written upon papyrus which hath not been written upon, with ink made of grains of greens, a butt mixed with anti water, and the papyrus shall be placed on the breast of the deceased. It shall not enter into, that is, touch his members. If this be done for any deceased person, he shall go forth into the boat of Ra in the course of the day every day, and the god Thoth shall take account of him as he cometh forth from and goeth in the course of the day every day, regularly and continually into the boat of Ra, as a perfect Khu, and he shall set up the Tet, and shall stablish the buckle, and shall sail about with Ra into any place he wisheth. In the Sa'ite Recension, Chapter 100 is repeated as 129, and both texts have the same vignette. The rubric of Chapter 129 is, however, fuller than that of Chapter 100, and it may conveniently be divided into two parts, the first of which refers to the picture which is ordered to be written upon a piece of new papyrus, and the second to the chapter itself. End of chapters 91 through 100. Chapters 101 through 110 of the Egyptian Book of the Dead by E. A. Wallis Budge. 101. Vignette in the Papyrus of Nu. This chapter has no vignette. In the Sa'ite Recension, the deceased is seen poling along a boat wherein are the god Ra and the Bennu bird. Text: the chapter of protecting the boat of Ra. O thou that cleavest the water as thou comest forth from the stream, and dost sit upon thy place in thy boat, sit thou upon thy place in thy boat as thou goest forth to thy station of yesterday, and do thou join the Osiris, the overseer of the palace, the chancellor in chief, Nu, triumphant, the perfect Khu, unto thy mariners, and let thy strength be his strength. Hail, Ra, in thy name of Ra, if thou dost pass by the eye of 7 cubits, which hath a pupil of 3 cubits, then verily do thou strengthen the Osiris, Nu, triumphant, the perfect Khu, and let him be among thy mariners, and let thy strength be his strength. Hail, Ra, in thy name of Ra, if thou dost pass by those who are overturned in death, then verily do thou make the Osiris, Nu, triumphant, the perfect soul, to stand up upon his feet, and may thy strength be his strength. Hail, Ra, in thy name of Ra, if the hidden things of the underworld are opened unto thee, and thou dost gratify the heart of the cycle of thy gods, then verily do thou grant joy of heart unto the chancellor in chief, Nu, triumphant, and let thy strength be his strength. Thy members, O Ra, are established by this chapter. Rubric. This chapter shall be recited over a bandlet of the fine linen of kings, upon which it hath been written with anti, which shall be laid upon the neck of the perfect Khu on the day of the burial. If this amulet be laid upon his neck, he shall do everything which he desireth to do, even like the gods. And he shall join himself unto the followers of Horus, and he shall be stablished as a star face to face with Septet, Sothis, and his corruptible body shall be as a god along with his kinsfolk for ever, and the goddess Menkhet shall make plants to germinate upon his body, And the majesty of the god Thoth lovingly shall make the light to rest upon his corruptible body at will, even as he did for the majesty of the king of the north and of the south, the god Osiris triumphant. Chapter 102. Vignette: The boat of Ra, with the god seated therein and holding a paddle. Before him kneels the god Isis, and behind him the deceased. Sometimes Ra is accompanied by the gods Thoth and Khepera, and sometimes by Anubis alone. In the Sa'ite Recension the deceased is kneeling before Ra at a table of offerings. Text: The Chapter of going into the boat of Ra. The Chancellor in Chief, Nu, triumphant, saith: "Hail, thou great god who art in thy boat, bring thou me into thy boat. I have come forward to thy steps, let me be the director of thy journeyings, and let me be among those who belong to thee, and who are among the stars which never rest. The things which are an abomination unto thee, and the things which are an abomination unto me, I will not eat. That which is an abomination unto me, that which is an abomination unto me, is filth, and I will not eat thereof. But sepulchral offerings and holy food will I eat, and I shall not be overthrown thereby. I will not draw nigh unto filth with my hands, and I will not walk thereon with my sandals, because my bread is made of white barley, and my ale is made of red barley. And behold, the Sektet boat and the Atet boat have brought these things, and have laid the gifts of the lands upon the altar of the souls of Annu. Hymns of praise be to thee, O Ur Aritz, as thou travellest through heaven. Let there be food for thee, O dweller in the city of Teni. This. And when the dogs gather together, let me not suffer harm. I myself have come, and I have delivered the god from the things which have been inflicted upon him, and from the grievous sickness of the body, of the arm, and of the leg. I have come, and I have spit upon the body, I have bound up the arm, and I have made the leg to walk. I have entered the boat, and I sail round about by the command of Ra. Chapter 103. Vignette: The goddess Hathor, having a disk and horns upon her head, and a scepter in her left hand. Behind her stands the deceased. Text: The Chapter of being with the goddess Hathor. The Chancellor in Chief, Nu, triumphant, saith: I am the pure traveller. Behold As Ahi, behold As Ahi. Let me be among those who follow the goddess Hathor. Chapter 104. Vignette: Two great gods seated on thrones facing each other. On the ground between them sits the deceased. In the Sa'ite Recension the deceased is seated on a low pedestal before three gods. Text: The Chapter of sitting among the great gods. Behold Nebseni, who saith: I sit among the great gods, and I have made a way for myself through the house of the Sektet boat, and behold, the mantis hath brought me to see the great gods who dwell in the underworld, and I shall be triumphant before them, for I am pure. Chapter 105. Vignette: The deceased standing before a ka on a pedestal. With his right hand he pours out a libation, and with his left he makes an offering of incense. Text: The Chapter of making offerings to the Ka in the underworld. The overseer of the palace, the Chancellor in Chief, Nu, triumphant, saith: Homage to thee, O my Ka, who art my period of life. Grant thou that I may come before thee, and let me rise up like the sun, and let me be strong, and let me have my soul, and let me gain the mastery over mine enemies. For I have brought to thee an offering of incense, and I have made myself pure therewith, and I will purify that which issueth from thee therewith. The evil things which I have spoken, and the hateful transgressions which I have committed, lay thou not upon me, for I am the mother of Emerald Amulet, which belongeth unto the neck of Ra, and which hath been placed there by those who dwell in the double horizon, that is, the eastern and western parts of the sky. Their vigour is my vigour, their vigour is my vigour. My ka is like unto their kas, and the tchefau food of my ka is like unto the tchefau food of their kas. O thou who liftest up the scales and who exaltest right and truth to the nostrils of Ra this day, let not my head fall away from me. For behold, am I not the eye which looketh upon thee? Am I not the ear which hearkeneth unto thee? For behold, am I not the bull of those who have fallen down in death? And have not sepulchral meals been made for me? And are not those who live in the heights, or according to another reading, those who are chiefs of Nut, for me? Grant thou that I may go forward by thee, for I, even I, am pure, and I have made Osiris to triumph over his enemies. Chapter 106. Vignette: A table of offerings. In the Sa'ite Recension the deceased is making offerings to the god Ptah. Text: the chapter of giving sepulchral meals unto the Osiris Nu, triumphant, in Het Ptah Ka, that is Memphis, and the underworld. The chancellor in chief Nu, triumphant, saith: Hail, great God, thou lord of Tchefau food! Hail, great God, thou prince of the celestial habitations, which supply bread for the god Ptah! Hail, mighty one, who dwellest in the great house! Grant ye unto me bread, grant ye unto me ale, and let me cleanse myself by means of the haunch and by the offerings of cakes. Hail, thou divine boat of Sekhet Aaru! Let these cakes be brought to me by thy stream, even as thy divine father, the mighty one, passed thereon in the divine bark. Chapter 107. There is no equivalent for this chapter in the papyri containing the Theban Recension. In the Sa'ite Recension this chapter is called the chapter of going into and of coming out from the gate of the gods of the West, of being among the followers of Ra, and of knowing the souls of the West, and the vignette represents the deceased standing, with both hands raised in adoration, before Ra, Sebek, Hathor, and a serpent, who rest on the slope of a mountain. The text is actually the first line and a half of chapter 109, which is entitled the chapter of knowing the souls of the East. Chapter 108. Vignette: the deities Temu, Sebek, and Hathor seated. Text: the chapter of knowing the souls of the West. The chancellor in chief, Nu, triumphant, saith: Now the mountain of Bakau, that is, the mountain of the sunrise, whereupon this heaven supports itself, is situated in the eastern part of heaven, and it hath dimensions of 300 ket, that is, 30,000 cubits in length, and 150 kehet, that is, 150,000 cubits in breadth. Sebek, the lord of Bakau, dwelleth to the east of the mountain, and his temple is on the earth there. There is a serpent on the brow of that mountain, and he measureth 30 cubits in length. The first 8 cubits of his length are covered with flints and with shining metal plates. The Osiris Nu, triumphant, knoweth the name of this serpent which dwelleth on his hill. Dweller in his fire is his name. Now after Ra hath stood still, he inclineth his eyes towards him, and a stoppage of the boat of Ra taketh place, and a mighty sleep cometh upon him that is in the boat, and he gulpeth down 7 cubits of the great waters. Thereby he maketh Suti to depart, having the harpoon of iron in him, and thereby he is caused to throw up everything which he hath eaten, and thereby is set put into his place of restraint. And then I recite before him the enchantment, saying: Get thee back to the sky, for that which is in my hand is ready. I stand up in thy place of restraint. The boat advanceth, taking heed to the way. Thy head is covered up, while I sail on and turn back thy steps. I am the man who covereth thy head, and who poureth cold water upon thy palm. I have strength, and I am strong. I am the divine one, who is mighty in enchantments, namely, the son of Nut, and my splendour hath therefore been delivered unto me. Who then is this venerable Khu, who advanceth walking upon his belly, and upon his tail, and upon the joints of his back? Verily, it is I myself who do walk over thee, and thy strength is in my power. I am he who lifteth up strength, and I have come, and I have become master of the serpents of Ra, when he setteth in my sight at eventide. I go round about heaven, but thou art fettered with fetters, which thing was ordained for thee formerly when Ra set in life in his horizon. I, even I, know how to guide the matters whereby the serpent Apep is driven back, and I know the divine souls of the West, that is to say, Tem and Sebek, the lord of Bakau, and Hathor, the lady of the evening. Chapter 109. Vignette: the god Heru Khuti Harmachis seated. Before him is a spotted calf, behind which stands the deceased with both hands raised in adoration of the god. Above is the morning star. Elsewhere the deceased is seen standing with both hands raised in adoration before three seated ibis-headed deities. In the Sa'ite Recension the vignette is quite different. The god Ra Harmachis, hawk-headed and wearing a disk which is encircled by a serpent, is seated in a boat. Above the disk is the emblem of air, and he holds on his knees the emblem of life. Before him in the boat is a calf, above which is a star, and behind him stands the deceased. The boat is about to sail between two sycamore trees, in front of which stands the deceased with both hands raised in adoration. Text: the chapter of knowing the souls of the East. The chancellor in chief, Nu, triumphant, saith: I, even I, know the eastern gate of heaven. Now its southern part is at the lake of Karu, and its northern part is at the canal of the geese, where out Ra cometh with winds which make him to advance. I am he who is concerned with the tackle which is in the divine bark. I am the sailor who ceaseth not in the boat of Ra. I, even I, know the two sycamores of turquoise between which Ra showeth himself when he strideth forward over the supports of Shu towards the gate of the Lord of the East, through which Ra cometh forth. I, even I, know the Sektet Aaru of Ra, the walls of which are of iron. The height of the wheat therein is 5 cubits, of the ears thereof 2 cubits, and of the stalks thereof 3 cubits. The barley therein is in height 7 cubits, the ears thereof are 3 cubits, and the stalks thereof are 4 cubits. And behold, the Khus, each one of whom therein is 9 cubits in height, reap it near the divine souls of the East. I, even I, know the divine souls of the East, that is to say, Heru Khuti Harmachis, and the calf of the goddess Khera, and the morning star. Daily a divine city hath been built for me, I know it, and I know the name thereof. Sekhet Aaru is its name. Chapter 110. Vignette: the Sekhet Hetepet, or Fields of Peace, commonly called the Elysian Fields, surrounded and intersected by streams. The divisions contain the following: A. Nebseni, the scribe and artist of the temple of Ptah, with his arms hanging by his sides, entering the Elysian Fields. B. The scribe Nebseni, making an offering of incense to the great company of the gods. C. Nebseni, seated in a boat, paddling. Above the boat are 3 symbols for city. D. The deceased addressing a bearded mummied figure. E. 3 pools or lakes called Urti, Hetep, and Ketket, respectively. F. Nebseni reaping in Sekhet Hetepet. G. Nebseni grasping the Bennu bird which is perched upon a stand. In front are 3 Kas and 3 Khus. H. Nebseni seated and smelling a flower. The text reads: thousands of all good and pure things to the Ka of Nebseni. I. A table of offerings. J. 4 pools of lakes called Nebt Tau, E, Uaka, Ka, and Hetep. K. Nebseni plowing with oxen by the side of a stream which is 1000 measures in length, and the width of which cannot be said. In it there are neither fish nor worms. L. Nebseni plowing with oxen on an island, the length of which is the length of heaven. M, a division shaped like a bowl, in which is inscribed the birthplace of the god of the city Kenkenet Nebt. N, an island whereon are four gods and a flight of steps. The legend reads, the great company of the gods who are in Sekhet Hetep. O, the boat Tetchetfet, with 8 oars, 4 at the bows and 4 at the stern, floating at the end of a canal. In it is a flight of steps. The place where it lies is called the domain of Neth. P, 2 pools, the names of which are illegible. The vignette in the Papyrus of Ani has some interesting variants, and may be thus described. 1. Ani making an offering before a hare-headed god, a snake-headed god, and a bull-headed god. Behind him stands Thoth, holding his reed and palette. Ani paddling a boat. Ani addressing a hawk, before which are a table of offerings, 3 ovals, and the legend, being at peace in the field of peace, and having air for the nostrils. 2. Ani reaping corn. Ani driving the oxen which tread out the corn. Ani addressing or adoring a Bennu bird perched on a stand. Ani seated, holding the Kherp scepter. A heap of red and a heap of white corn, 3 Kas and 3 Khus, which are perhaps to be read the food of the Khus, and 3 pools. 3. Ani plowing a field near a stream which contains neither fish nor serpents. 4. The birthplace of the god of the city. An island on which is a flight of steps, a region called the place of the Khus, who are 7 cubits high. The wheat is 3 cubits high, and it is the Sahu who have become perfect, who reap it. The region Ashet, the god who dwelleth therein, being Unifer. A boat with 8 oars, lying at the end of a canal, and a boat floating on a canal. The name of the first boat is Bahutu Tcheser, and the name of the second Tchefau. In the Papyrus of Nebseni are 2 scenes, one on each side of Sekhet Hetepep, or the Elysian Fields. In the first, A, Nebseni stands with both hands raised in adoration, and adores the company of the gods who dwell in Sekhet Hetep, saying, "Homage to you, O ye lords of food! I have come in peace to your field to receive Tchefau food. Grant ye that I may come to the great god daily, and grant that I may attain to the offerings, that is to say, to the cakes and ale and oxen and ducks and bread which are offered unto his Ka." The 3 short lines of hieroglyphics B in front of Nebseni read: Nebseni, the lord of reverence, the scribe and artist in the temples of the south and of the north, ascribeth praise to the company of the gods, and adoreth the great god. In the second scene Nebseni is standing upright, and a youth is pouring a libation over him. At the same time another youth is bringing to him an offering of raiment. The text above him, C, reads: "May the god Osiris and all the company of the gods who dwell in Sekhet Hetep grant offerings of cakes and ale and oxen and ducks and bread, and all good things, and linen garments, and incense each day, and an offering on the altar each day, and the receiving of cakes of various kinds, and milk and wine, and Tchefau food, and the following of the god at his coming forth during his festivals of Restau, along with the favoured ones of the great god to the Ka of the scribe Nebseni," etc. Text: Here begin the chapters of Sekhet Hetepet, and the chapters of coming forth by day, of going into and of coming out from the underworld, of coming to Sekhet Aaru, of being in Sekhet Hetepet, the mighty land, the lady of winds, of having power there, of becoming a Khu there, of ploughing there, of reaping there, of eating there, of drinking there, of making love there, and of doing everything even as a man doeth upon earth. Behold the scribe and artist of the temple of Ptah, Nebseni, who saith: "Set hath taken possession of Horus, who looked with the 2 eyes upon the building round Sekhet Hetep, but I have unfettered Horus, and taken him from Set, and Set hath opened the ways of the 2 eyes which are in heaven. Set hath cast his moisture to the winds upon the soul that hath his day or his eye, and who dwelleth in the city of Mert, and he hath delivered the interior of the body of Horus from the gods of Akert. Behold me now, for I make this mighty boat to travel over the lake of Hetep, and I brought it away with might from the palace of Shu. The domain of his stars groweth young, and reneweth its former strength. I have brought the boat into the lakes thereof, so that I may come forth into the cities thereof, and I have sailed into their divine city Hetep. And behold, it is because I, even I, am at peace with his seasons, and with his guidance, and with his territory, and with the company of the gods who are his firstborn, he maketh the two divine fighters, that is, Horus and Set, to be at peace with those who watch over the living ones whom he hath created in fair form, and he bringeth peace with him. He maketh the two divine fighters to be at peace with those who watch over them. He cutteth off the hair from the divine fighters, he driveth away storm from the helpless, and he keepeth away harm from the Khus. Let me gain dominion within that field, for I know it, and I have sailed among its lakes so that I might come into its cities. My mouth is strong, and I am equipped with weapons to use against the Khus. Let them not have dominion over me. Let me be rewarded with thy fields, O thou god Hetep. That which is thy wish shalt thou do, O Lord of the winds. May I become a Khu therein, may I eat therein, may I drink therein, may I plow therein, may I reap therein, may I fight therein, may I make love therein, may my words be mighty therein, may I never be in a state of servitude therein, but may I be in authority therein. Thou hast made strong the mouth and the throat of the god Hetep. Ketebu is its name. He is stablished upon the watery supports of the god Shu, and is linked unto the pleasant things of Ra. He is the divider of years. He is hidden of mouth. His mouth is silent. That which he uttereth is secret. He fulfilleth eternity, and taketh possession of everlastingness of existence, as Hetep, the Lord Hetep. The god Horus maketh himself to be strong like unto the hawk, which is 1000 cubits in length, and 2000 cubits in width. In life he hath equipments with him, and he journeyeth on, and cometh where the seat of his heart wisheth, in the pools thereof, and in the cities thereof. He was begotten in the birth chamber of the god of the city. He hath offerings made unto him of the food of the god of the city. He performeth that which it is meet to do therein, and the union thereof, in the matter of everything of the birth chamber of the divine city. When he setteth in life like crystal, he performeth everything therein, and these things are like unto the things which are done in the lake of double fire, wherein there is none that rejoiceth, and wherein are all manner of evil things. The god Hetep goeth in, and cometh out, and goeth backwards in that field which gathereth together all manner of things for the birth chamber of the god of the city. When he setteth in life like crystal, he performeth all manner of things therein, which are like unto the things which are done in the lake of double fire, wherein there is none that rejoiceth, and wherein are no evil things whatsoever. Let me live with the god Hetep, clothed and not despoiled by the lords of the north, and may the lords of divine things bring food unto me. May he make me to go forward, and may I come forth, and may he bring my power to me there, and may I receive it, and may my equipment be from the god Hetep. May I gain the mastery over the great and mighty word which is in my body, in this my place, and by it I will remember and I will forget. Let me go forward on my journey, and let me plow. I am at peace in the divine city, and I know the waters, cities, nomes, and lakes which are in Sekhet Hetep. I exist therein, I am strong therein, I become a Khu therein, I eat therein, I sow seed therein, I reap the harvest therein, I plow therein, I make love therein, I am at peace with the god Hetep therein. Behold, I scatter seed therein, I sail about among its lakes, and I come forward to the cities thereof. O divine Hetep, behold, my mouth is equipped with my horns for teeth. Grant me an overflowing supply of the food whereon the Kas and Khus live. I have passed the judgment of Shu upon him that knoweth him, so that I may go forth to the cities thereof, and may sail about among its lakes, and may walk about in Sekhet Hetep. And behold, Ra is in heaven, and behold, the god Hetep is its double offering. I have come onward to its land, I have put on my girdle, I have come forth so that the gifts which are about to be given unto me may be given. I have made gladness for myself, I have laid hold upon my strength, which the god Hetep hath greatly increased for me. O Unen em Hetep, I have entered into thee, and my soul followeth after me, and my divine food is upon both my hands, O Lady of the two lands, who stablishest my word whereby I remember and forget. I would live without injury, without any injury being done unto me. O grant to me, O do thou grant to me joy of heart. Make thou me to be at peace. Bind thou up my sinews and muscles, and make me to receive the air. O Anen en Hetep, thou lady of the winds, I have entered in to thee, and I have opened, that is, shown my head. Ra falleth asleep, but I am awake, and there is the goddess Hast at the gate of heaven by night. Obstacles have been set before me, but I have gathered together what he hath emitted. I am in my city, O Nut urt. I have entered into thee, and I have counted my harvest, and I go forward to Uakh. I am the bull enveloped in turquoise, the lord of the field of the bull, the lord of the divine speech of the goddess Septet, Sothis at her hours. O Uakh, I have entered into thee, I have eaten my bread, I have gotten the mastery over choice pieces of the flesh of oxen and of feathered fowl, and the birds of Shu have been given unto me. I follow after the gods, and I come after the divine Kas. O Tchet Fet, I have entered into thee, I array myself in apparel, and I gird myself with the sa garment of Ra. Now behold, he is in heaven, and those who dwell therein follow Ra, and I follow Ra in heaven. O Unen em Hetep, lord of the two lands, I have entered into thee, and I have plunged into the lakes of Tchetsert. Behold me, for all filth hath departed from me. The great God groweth therein, and behold, I have found food therein. I have snared feathered fowl, and I feed upon the finest of them. O Kentet, I have entered into thee, and I have seen the Osiris, my father, and I have gazed upon my mother, and I have made love. I have caught the worms and serpents, and I am delivered, and I know the name of the god who is opposite to the goddess Tchetsert, and who hath straight hair, and is equipped with two horns. He reapeth, and I both plough and reap. O Hast, I have entered into thee, I have driven back those who would come to the turquoise sky, and I have followed the winds of the company of the gods. The great God hath given my head unto me, and he who hath bound on me my head is the mighty one who hath turquoise eyes, namely Ari an Abet, that is, he doeth as he pleaseth. O Usert, I have come into thee at the head of the house wherein divine food is brought for me. O Smam, I have come into thee, my heart watcheth, my head is equipped with the white crown, I am led into celestial regions, and I make to flourish terrestrial objects, and there is joy of heart for the bull, and for celestial beings, and for the company of the gods. I am the god who is the bull, the lord of the gods, as he goeth forth from the turquoise sky. O divine nome of wheat and barley, I have come into thee, I have come forward to thee, and I have taken up that which followeth me, namely, the best of the libations of the company of the gods. I have tied up my boat in the celestial lakes, I have lifted up the post at which to anchor, I have recited the prescribed words with my voice, and I have ascribed praises unto the gods who dwell in Sekhet Hetep. End of chapters 101 through 110. Chapters 111 through 120 of the Egyptian Book of the Dead by E. A. Wallis Budge. Chapter 111. In the Theban Recension this chapter has not as yet been found. In the Sa'ite Recension it is called the chapter of knowing the souls of Pe, but an examination of the text shows that it is identical with that of chapter 108. It has no vignette. Chapter 112. Vignette: the gods Horus, hawk-headed, Meshtha, and Hapi seated. Text: another chapter of knowing the souls of Pe. The overseer of the palace, the chancellor in chief, Nu, triumphant, saith: Hail, Khat, who dwelleth in Khat, in Anpet, and in the nome of Khat. Hail, ye goddesses of the chase, who dwell in the city of Pe, ye celestial lands, ye stars, and ye divine beings who give cakes and ale. Do ye know for what reason the city of Pe hath been given unto Horus? I, even I, know, though ye know it not. Behold, Ra gave the city unto him in return for the injury in his eye, for which cause Ra said to Horus, Let me see what is coming to pass in thine eye, and forthwith he looked thereat. Then Ra said to Horus, "Look at that black pig." And he looked, and straightway an injury was done unto his eye, namely, a mighty storm took place. Then said Horus unto Ra, "Verily my eye seems as if it were an eye upon which Suti had inflicted a blow." And thus saying, he ate his heart. Then said Ra to those gods, "Place ye him in his chamber, and he shall do well." Now the black pig was Suti, who had transformed himself into a black pig, and he it was who had aimed the blow of fire which was in the eye of Horus. Then said Ra unto those gods, "The pig is an abominable thing unto Horus. Oh, but he shall do well, although the pig is an abomination unto him." Then the company of the gods who were among the divine followers of Horus when he existed in the form of his own child said, "Let sacrifices be made to the gods of his bulls, and of his goats, and of his pigs." Now the father of Mesthi, Hapi, Tuamautef, and Qebhennuf is Horus, and their mother is Isis. Then said Horus to Ra, "Give me two divine brethren in the city of Pe, and two divine brethren in the city of Nekhen, who have sprung from my body, and who shall be with me in the guise of everlasting judges. Then shall the earth blossom, and thunder clouds and rain be blotted out." And the name of Horus became Her Uachf, that is, prince of his emerald stone. I, even I, know the souls of Pe, namely Horus, Mesthi, and Hapi. Chapter 113. Vignette: The gods Horus, Tuamautef, and Qebhsennuf. Text: The Chapter of knowing the souls of Nekhen. The overseer of the palace, the chancellor in chief, Nu, triumphant, saith: "I know the hidden things of the city of Nekhen, that is to say, the things which the mother of Horus did for him, and how she made her voice to go forth over the waters, saying, 'Speak ye unto me concerning the judgment which is upon me, and show me the path behind you, and let me discover it'; and how Ra said, 'This son of Isis hath perished'; and what the mother of Horus did for him when she cried out, saying, 'Sebek, the lord of the Papyrus swamp, shall be brought to us.' And Sebek fished for them, and he found them, and the mother of Horus made them to grow in the places to which they belonged. Then Sebek, the lord of his Papyrus swamp, said, 'I went and I found the place where they had passed with my fingers on the edge of the waters, and I enclosed them in my net, and strong was that net.' And Ra said, 'So then there are fish with the god Sebek, and he hath found the hands and arms of Horus for him in the land of fish.' And that land became the land of the city of Remu, that is, fish. And Ra said, 'A land of the pool, a land of the pool to this net.' Then were the hands of Horus brought to him at the uncovering of his face at the festivals of the month and half month in the land of Remu. And Ra said, 'I give the city of Nekhen to Horus for the habitation of his two arms and hands, and his face shall be uncovered before his two hands and arms in the city of Nekhen. And I give unto his power the slaughtered beings who are in them at the festivals of the month and half month.' Then Horus said, 'Let me carry off Tuamautef and Qebhsennuf, and let them watch over my body, and if they are allowed to be there, then shall they be subservient to the god of the city of Nekhen.' And Ra said, 'It shall be granted unto thee there, and in the city of Senket, that is, Sati. And there shall be done for them what hath been done for those who dwell in the city of Nekhen, and verily they shall be with thee.' And Horus said, 'They have been with thee, and now they shall be with me, and shall hearken unto the god Suti when he calleth upon the souls of Nekhen. Grant to me that I, even I, may pass on to the souls of Nekhen, and that I may unloose the bonds of Horus. I, even I, know the souls of Nekhen, namely, Horus, Tuamautef, and Qebhsennuf." Chapter 114. Vignette: Three ibis-headed gods. In the Sa'ite Recension the deceased is standing with both hands raised in adoration before the gods Thoth, Sa, and Tem. Text: The Chapter of knowing the souls of Kemenu, Hermopolis. The goddess Maat is carried by the arm at the shining of the goddess Neith in the city of Mentchat, and at the shining of the eye when it is weighed. I am carried over by it, and I know what it bringeth from the city of Kesi, and I will neither declare it unto men nor tell it unto the gods. I have come, being the envoy of Ra, to stablish Maat upon the arm at the shining of Neith in the city of Mentchat, and to adjudge the eye to him that shall scrutinize it. I have come as a power, through the knowledge of the souls of Kemenu, Hermopolis, who love to know what ye love. I know Maat, which hath germinated, and hath become strong, and hath been judged, and I have joy in passing judgment upon the things which are to be judged. Homage to you, O ye souls of Kemenu! I, even I, know the things which are unknown on the festivals of the month and half month. Ra knoweth the hidden things of the night, and know ye that it is Thoth who hath made me to have knowledge. Homage to you, O ye souls of Kemenu, since I know you each day. Chapter 115. Vignette: in the Papyrus of Nu. This Chapter has no vignette. In the Sa'ite Recension the deceased is standing with both hands raised in adoration before the gods Ra, Shu, and Tefnut. Text: the Chapter of coming forth from heaven, and of making a way through the Amenhet, and of knowing the souls of Annu. Heliopolis, the Chancellor in Chief, Nu, triumphant, saith: I have passed the day since yesterday among the great divine beings, and I have come into being along with the god Khepera. My face is uncovered before the Eye, the only One, and the orbit of the night hath been opened. I am a divine being among you. I know the souls of Annu. Shall not the god Ma pass over it as he journeyeth forward with vigor? Have I not overcome, and have I not spoken to the gods? Behold, he that is the heir of Annu hath been destroyed. I, even I, know for what reason was made the lock of hair of the man. Ra spake unto the god Amihaf, and an injury was done unto his mouth, that is to say, he was wounded in that mouth. And Ra spake unto the god Amihaf, saying, O heir of men, receive thy harpoon. And the harpoon house came into being. Behold, O god Amihaf, two divine brethren have come into being, that is to say, Senti Ra came into being, and Setem Ansi F came into being, and his hand stayed not, and he made his form into that of a woman with a lock of hair, which became the divine lock in Annu, and which became the strong and mighty one in this temple. And it became the strong one of Annu, and it became the heir of Maat, that is, the mighty one of the two eyes. And it became before him the god Irma of Annu. I know the souls of Annu, namely, Ra, Shu, and Tefnut. Chapter 116. Vignette: the deceased adoring three ibis-headed gods. In the Sa'ite Recension the deceased is standing with both hands raised in adoration before the gods Thoth, Sa, and Tem. Text: another Chapter of knowing the souls of Kemenu, Hermopolis. The Chancellor in Chief, Nu, triumphant, saith: the goddess Neith shineth in Matchat, and the goddess Maat is carried by the arm of him who eateth the eye, and who is its divine judge, and the Sem priest carrieth me over upon it. I will not declare it unto men, and I will not tell it unto the gods. I will not declare it unto men, and I will not tell it unto the gods. I have entered in being an ignorant man, and I have seen the hidden things. Homage to you, O ye gods who dwell in Kemenu! Ye know me, even as I know the goddess Neith, and ye give to the eye the growth which endureth. There is joy to me at the judgment of the things which are to be judged. I, even I, know the souls of Annu. They are great at the festival of the month, and are little at the festival of the half month. They are Thoth, the hidden one, and Sa and Tem. Rubric: if this Chapter be known by the deceased, awful shall be an abomination unto him, and he shall not drink filthy water. Chapter 117. Vignette: the deceased holding a staff in his left hand, about to walk up one side of a hill of the horizon. In the Sa'ite Recension, the god Anubis is leading the deceased to a shrine which is set on a hill. Text: the Chapter of receiving paths whereon to walk in Re style. The chancellor in chief, Nu, triumphant, saith: "The paths which are above me lead to Re style. I am he who is girt about with his girdle, and who cometh forth from the goddess of Ureret crown. I have come, and I have stablished things in Abtu (Abydos), and I have opened out paths in Re style. The god Osiris hath eased my pains. I am he who maketh the waters to come into being, and who setteth his throne thereon, and who maketh his path through the funeral valley and through the great lake. I have made my path, and indeed I am Osiris." Osiris was victorious over his enemies, and the Osiris Nebket is victorious over his enemies. He hath become as one of yourselves, O ye gods. His protector is the Lord of eternity. He walketh even as ye walk, he standeth even as ye stand, he sitteth even as ye sit, and he talketh even as ye talk, in the presence of the great God, the Lord of Amentet. Chapter 118. Vignette: the deceased holding a staff in his left hand. In the Sa'ite Recension this Chapter has no vignette. Text: the Chapter of coming forth from Re stau. The chancellor in chief, Nu, triumphant, saith: "I was born in Re stau, and splendour hath been given unto me by those who dwell in their spiritual bodies (Sahu), in the habitation where libations are made unto Osiris. The divine ministers who are in Re stau shall receive me when Osiris is led into the twofold funeral region of Osiris. O let me be a divine being whom they shall lead into the twofold funeral region of Osiris." Chapter 119. Vignette: the deceased adoring the god Osiris, who stands in a shrine. In the Sa'ite Recension the deceased is walking away from a shrine which is set upon a hill. Text: the Chapter of coming forth from Re stau. The chancellor in chief, Nu, triumphant, saith: "I am the great god who maketh his light. I have come to thee, O Osiris, and I offer praise unto thee. I am pure from the issues which are carried away from thee. Thy name is made in Re stau, and thy power is in Abtu (Abydos). Thou art raised up, then, O Osiris, and thou goest round about through heaven with Ra, and thou lookest upon the generations of men. O thou one who circlest, thou Ra, behold, verily, I have said unto thee, O Osiris, I am the spiritual body of the god, and I say, let it come to pass that I shall never be repulsed before thee, O Osiris." The following is the Chapter in a fuller form: the Chapter of knowing the name of Osiris, and of entering into and of going out from Re stau, in all the forms wherein he willeth to come forth. The scribe Mesem Neter, triumphant, saith: "I am the great name who maketh his light. I have come to thee, O Osiris, and I offer praise unto thee. I am pure from the issues which are carried away from thee. Thy name hath been made in Re stau when it hath fallen therein. Homage to thee, O Osiris, in thy strength and in thy power. Thou hast obtained the mastery in Re stau. Thou art raised up, O Osiris, in thy might and in thy power. Thou art raised up, O Osiris, and thy might is in Re stau, and thy power is in Abtu (Abydos). Thou goest round about through heaven, and thou sailest before Ra, and thou lookest upon the generations of men. O thou being who circlest, thou Ra, behold, verily, I have said unto thee, O Osiris, I am the spiritual body of the god, and I say, let it come to pass that I shall never be repulsed before thee, O Osiris." Chapter 120. Vignette: this Chapter is without a vignette both in the Theban and Sa'ite Recensions. Text: in the Sa'ite Recension this Chapter is given twice. End of Chapters 111 through 120. Chapters 121 through 130 of the Egyptian Book of the Dead by E. A. Wallis Budge, chapters 121 through 130. Chapter 121. Vignette. This chapter is without a vignette, both in the Theban and Sa'ite recensions. Text. In the Sa'ite recension, this chapter is given twice. Chapter 122. Vignette. The Papyrus of Nu is the only document containing the Theban recension which is known at present to give a text of this chapter, but it is without a vignette. In the Sa'ite recension, the deceased is bowing before a shrine which is set upon a hill. Text. The chapter of going in after coming forth from the underworld. The overseer of the palace, the chancellor in chief, Nu, triumphant, saith, Open unto me. Who then art thou? Whither goest thou? What is thy name? I am one of you. Assembler of souls is the name of my boat. Making the hair to stand on end is the name of the oars. Watchful one is the name of its bows. Evil is it is the name of the rudder. Steering straight for the middle is the name of the Machabet. So likewise the boat is a type of my sailing onward to the pool. Let there be given unto me vessels of milk, together with cakes and loaves of bread, and cups of drink, and pieces of meat in the temple of Anpu, or, as others say, grant thou me these things wholly. Let it be so done unto me that I may enter in like a hawk, and that I may come forth like the Bennu bird, and like the morning star. Let me make my path so that I may go in peace into the beautiful Amentet, and let the lake of Osiris be mine. Let me make my path, and let me enter in, and let me adore Osiris, the Lord of life. Chapter 123 or 139. Vignette. The deceased or his soul standing before a palace or shrine. In the Sa'ite recension, this chapter has no vignette. Text. The chapter of entering into the great house. The overseer of the palace, the chancellor in chief, Nu, triumphant, saith, Homage to thee, O Thoth. I am Thoth, who have weighed the two divine fighters, that is, Horus and Set. I have destroyed their warfare, and I have diminished their wailings. I have delivered the Atu fish in his turning back, and I have performed that which thou didst order concerning him, and afterwards I lay down within my eye. I am he who hath been without opposition. I have come. Do thou look upon me in the temple of Nemhra, or Uhemhra. I give commands in the words of the divine aged ones, and moreover I guide for thee the lesser deities. Chapter 124. Vignette. The deceased adoring Meshthahapi, Tu'amaltef, and Kebsenuf. Text. The chapter of going into the presence of the divine sovereign princes of Osiris. The overseer of the palace, the chancellor in chief, Nu, triumphant, saith, My soul hath built for me a habitation in the city of Tatu. I sow seed in the city of Pe, and I plough my field with my labourers, and for this reason my palm tree is like Amsu. That which is an abomination unto me, that which is an abomination unto me, I shall not eat. That which is an abomination unto me, that which is an abomination unto me is filth. I shall not eat thereof. By sepulchral meals and food I shall not be destroyed. The abominable thing I shall not take into my hands. I shall not walk upon it in my sandals, because my cakes are made of white grain, and my ale is made of red grain. And behold, the Sektet boat and the Matet boat bring them to me, and I eat thereof under the branches of the trees, the beautiful arms of which I know. O let splendour be prepared for me with the white crown which is lifted up upon me by the Uraei goddesses. Hail, thou guardian of the divine doors of the god Sehetep Taui, that is, he who maketh the world to be at peace. Bring thou to me that of which they make sepulchral meals. Grant thou that I may lift up the branches. May the god of light open to me his arms, and may the company of the gods keep silence, whilst the denizens of heaven talk with the chancellor in chief, Nu, triumphant. I am the leader of the hearts of the gods which strengthen me, and I am a mighty one among the divine beings. If any god or any goddess shall come forth against me, he shall be judged by the ancestors of the year who live upon hearts, and who make cakes for me, and Osiris shall devour him at his coming forth from Abtu Abydos. He shall be judged by the ancestors of Ra, and he shall be judged by the god of light, who clotheth heaven among the divine princes. I shall have bread in my mouth at stated seasons, and I shall enter in before the gods Ahiu. He shall speak with me, and I shall speak with the followers of the gods. I shall speak with the disk, and I shall speak with the denizens of heaven. I shall put the terror of myself into the blackness of night, which is in the goddess Maert, who is near him that dwelleth in might. And behold, I shall be there with Osiris. My condition of completeness shall be his condition of completeness among the divine princes. I shall speak unto him with the words of men, and he shall repeat unto me the words of the gods. A Khu who is equipped with power shall come. I am a Khu who is equipped with power. I am equipped with the power of all the Khus, being the form of the Sahu, that is, spiritual bodies, of Anu, Tatu, Satin Benen, Abtu, Apu, and Senu. The Osiris of Auf Ankh is victorious over every god and every goddess who are hidden in Neter Khurtet. Chapter 125. The 125th chapter consists of three parts: the introduction, the negative confession, and a concluding text. The introduction was said when the deceased arrived at the hall of double Maati. The negative confession was recited by him before the 42 gods who were in this hall, and the concluding text when he came into the underworld. The introduction. Vignette. The god Osiris, bearded and wearing the white crown, stands in a shrine, the roof of which is surmounted by a hawk's head and by uraei. He holds the usual emblems of sovereignty and domination. Behind him is the goddess Isis, and before him, standing upon a lotus flower, are the four children of Horus: Mestha, Hapi, Tuamautef, and Qebhsennuf. Vignette. Ani and his wife, Thu, standing with hands raised in adoration of Osiris before a table of offerings. Text: the chapter of entering into the hall of double Maati. A hymn of praise to Osiris, the governor of Amentet. Osiris, the scribe Ani, triumphant, saith: I have come, and I have drawn nigh to see thy beauties. My hands are raised in adoration of thy name, right and truth. I came, and I drew nigh unto the place where the acacia tree groweth not, where the tree thick with leaves existeth not, and where the ground yieldeth neither herb nor grass. Then I entered into the hidden place, and I spake with the god Set, and my protector advanced to me, and his face was clothed or covered, and he fell upon the hidden things. He entered into the temple of Osiris, and he looked upon the hidden things which were therein, and the sovereign chiefs of the pylons were in the form of Khus. And the god Anpu spake to those who were on both sides of him with the speech of a man as he came from Ta Mera. He knoweth our paths and our cities. I make offerings, and I smell the odour of him as if he were one among you, and I say unto him, I am Osiris, the scribe Ani, triumphant, in peace, triumphant. I have come, and I have drawn nigh to see the great gods, and I feed upon the offerings which are among their food. I have been to the borders of the territory of Ba Neb Tetep, that is, the soul, the lord of Tatu, or Osiris, And he hath caused me to come forth like a Bennu bird, and to utter words. I have been in the water of the stream, and I have made offerings of incense. I have guided myself to the Shentet tree of the divine children. I have been in Abu, or Abu, that is elephantine, in the temple of the goddess Satet. I have submerged the boat of mine enemies, whilst I myself have sailed over the lake in the Neshmet boat. I have seen the Sahu, that is, the spiritual bodies, in the city of Kem Ur. I have been in the city of Tatu, and I have brought myself to silence therein. I have caused the god to have the mastery over his 2 feet. I have been in the temple of Tep 2f, that is, he that is on his hill, or Anubis. And I have seen him that is lord of the divine temple. I have entered into the temple of Osiris, and I have arrayed myself in the apparel of him that is therein. I have entered into Re Stau, and I have seen the hidden things which are therein. I was shrouded therein, but I found a way for myself. I have gone into the city of An Araret, that is, the place where nothing groweth, and I covered my nakedness with the garments which were therein. There was given unto me the anti unguent, such as women use along with the powder of human beings. Verily, Sut hath spoken unto me the things which concern himself, and I said, Let thy weighing be in us. The majesty of the god Anpu saith, Knowest thou the name of this door, so as to declare it unto me? And Osiris, the scribe Ani, triumphant in peace, triumphant, saith, Destroyer of the god Shu is the name of this door. The majesty of the god Anpu saith, Knowest thou the name of the upper leaf and of the lower leaf? Lord of Maat, upon his 2 feet is the name of the upper leaf, and Lord of twofold strength, the subduer of cattle, is the name of the lower leaf. The majesty of the god Anpu saith, Since thou knowest, pass on, O Osiris, the scribe, the teller of the divine offerings of all the gods of Thebes, Ani triumphant, the Lord of reverence. The introduction. Vignette: The deceased and his wife standing with both hands raised in adoration. Text: The following shall be said when the overseer of the palace, the chancellor in chief, Nu, triumphant, cometh forth into the hall of double Maati, so that he may be separated from every sin which he hath done, and may behold the faces of the gods. The Osiris Nu, triumphant, saith: Homage to thee, O great God, thou Lord of double Maati. I have come to thee, O my Lord, and I have brought myself hither that I may behold thy beauties. I know thee, and I know thy name, and I know the names of the 42 gods who exist with thee in this hall of double Maati, who live as warders of sinners, and who feed upon their blood on the day when the lives of men are taken into account in the presence of the god Un Nefer. In truth, Rekti Merteneb Maati, that is, twin sisters with 2 eyes, ladies of double Maati, is thy name. In truth, I have come to thee, and I have brought Maat, that is, right and truth, to thee, and I have destroyed wickedness for thee. I have not done evil to mankind. I have not oppressed the members of my family. I have not wrought evil in the place of right and truth. I have had no knowledge of worthless men. I have not wrought evil. I have not made to be the first consideration of each day that excessive labour should be performed for me. I have not brought forward my name for exaltation to honours. I have not ill-treated servants. I have not thought scorn of God. I have not defrauded the oppressed one of his property. I have not done that which is an abomination unto the gods. I have not caused harm to be done to the servant by his chief. I have not caused pain. I have made no man to suffer hunger. I have made no one to weep. I have done no murder. I have not given the order for murder to be done for me. I have not inflicted pain upon mankind. I have not defrauded the temples of their oblations. I have not purloined the cakes of the gods. I have not carried off the cakes offered to the Khus. I have not committed fornication. I have not polluted myself in the holy places of the god of my city. nor diminished from the bushel. I have neither added to nor filched away land. I have not encroached upon the fields of others. I have not added to the weights of the scales to cheat the seller. I have not misread the pointer of the scales to cheat the buyer. I have not carried away the milk from the mouths of children. I have not driven away the cattle which were upon their pastures. I have not snared the feathered fowl of the preserves of the gods. I have not caught fish with bait made of fish of their kind. I have not turned back the water at the time when it should flow. I have not cut a cutting in a canal of running water. I have not extinguished a fire or a light when it should burn. I have not violated the times of offering, the chosen meat offerings. I have not driven off the cattle from the property of the gods. I have not repulsed God in his manifestations. I am pure, I am pure, I am pure, I am pure. My purity is the purity of that great Bennu which is in the city of Sutenhenen, Heracleopolis. For behold, I am the nose of the god of the winds, who maketh all mankind to live on the day when the eye, Utchat of Ra, is full in Anu, Heliopolis, at the end of the second month of the season Pert, that is, the season of growing, in the presence of the divine Lord of this earth. I have seen the eye of Ra when it was full in Anu. Therefore let not evil befall me in this land and in this hall of double Maati, because I, even I, know the names of these gods who are therein, and who are the followers of the great God. The negative confession. Vignette: the hall of double Maati, that is to say, the hall of the goddesses Isis and Nephthys, who symbolize right and truth. Herein are seated or stand 42 gods, to each of whom the deceased must address a prescribed negative statement. At each end is one half of a folding door, one having the name of Neb Maat Heri Tef Retuif, and the other Neb Peti Kesu Men Menet. On the center of the roof, which has a cornice of uraei, typifying divinity, and feathers, symbolic of Maat, is a seated deity, painted bluish green, with hands extended, the right over the Eye of Horus and the left over a pool. At the end of the hall are 4 small vignettes in which are depicted the Maati goddesses, each seated upon a throne and holding a scepter in her right hand and the emblem of life in her left. The deceased, arrayed in white, standing before the god Osiris with both hands raised in adoration, a balance with the heart, symbolizing the conscience of the deceased, in one scale, and the feather emblematic of right and truth in the other. The god Anubis is testing the tongue of the balance, and close by stands the monster Ammet. Thoth, ibis headed, seated upon a pylon-shaped pedestal, painting a large feather of Maat. Text: the scribe Nebseni, triumphant, saith: 1. Hail, thou whose strides are long, who comest forth from Annu, Heliopolis, I have not done iniquity. 2. Hail, thou who art embraced by flame, who comest forth from Kher Aba, I have not robbed with violence. 3. Hail, thou divine nose, Fenti, who comest forth from Kemenu, Hermopolis, I have not done violence to any man. 4. Hail, thou who eatest shades, who comest forth from the place where the Nile riseth, I have not committed theft. 5. Hail, Neha Hau, who comest forth from Re stau, I have not slain man or woman. 6. Hail, thou double lying god, who comest forth from heaven, I have not made light the bushel. 7. Hail, thou whose 2 eyes are like flint, who comest forth from Sekhem Letopolis, I have not acted deceitfully. 8. Hail, thou flame, who comest forth as thou goest back, I have not purloined the things which belong unto God. 9. Hail, thou crusher of bones, who comest forth from Suten Benin, Heracleopolis, I have not uttered falsehood. 10. Hail, thou who makest the flame to wax strong, who comest forth from Heta Ka Ptah, Memphis, I have not carried away food. 11. Hail, Kerti, that is, the 2 sources of the Nile, who come forth from Amentet, I have not uttered evil words. 12. Hail, thou whose teeth shine, who comest forth from Tashi, that is, the Fayum. I have attacked no man. 13. Hail, thou who dost consume blood, who comest forth from the house of slaughter. I have not killed the beasts which are the property of God. 14. Hail, thou who dost consume the entrails, who comest forth from the Mabit chamber. I have not acted deceitfully. 15. Hail, thou God of right and truth, who comest forth from the city of double Maati. I have not laid waste the lands which have been plowed. 16. Hail, thou who goest backwards, who comest forth from the city of Bubastis. I have never pried into matters to make mischief. 17. Hail, Aati, who comest forth from Annu, Heliopolis. I have not set my mouth in motion against any man. 18. Hail, thou who art doubly evil, who comest forth from the nome of Ati. I have not given way to wrath concerning myself without a cause. 19. Hail, thou serpent Ua Memti, who comest forth from the house of slaughter. I have not defiled the wife of a man. 20. Hail, thou who lookest upon what is brought to him, who comest forth from the temple of Amsu. I have not committed any sin against purity. 21. Hail, chief of the divine princes, who comest forth from the city of Nahatu. I have not struck fear into any man. 22. Hail, Kemiu, that is, destroyer, who comest forth from the lake of Kaui. I have not encroached upon sacred times and seasons. 23. Hail, thou who orderest speech, who comest forth from Urit. I have not been a man of anger. 24. Hail, thou child, who comest forth from the lake of Hekut. I have not made myself deaf to the words of right and truth. 25. Hail, thou disposer of speech, who comest forth from the city of Unis. I have not stirred up strife. 26. Hail, Basti, who comest forth from the secret city. I have made no man to weep. 27. Hail, thou whose face is turned backwards, who comest forth from the dwelling. I have not committed acts of impurity, neither have I lain with men. 28. Hail, leg of fire, who comest forth from Akku. I have not eaten my heart. 29. Hail, Kenemti, who comest forth from the city of Kenemet. I have abused no man. 30. Hail, thou who bringest thine offering, who comest forth from the city of Sais. I have not acted with violence. 31. Hail, thou god of faces, who comest forth from the city of Techefet. I have not judged hastily. 32. Hail, thou who givest knowledge, who comest forth from Unth. I have not, and I have not taken vengeance upon the god. 33. Hail, thou lord of two horns, who comest forth from Satiu. I have not multiplied my speech overmuch. 34. Hail, Nefertem, who comest forth from Het Ka Patah, Memphis. I have not acted with deceit, and I have not worked wickedness. 35. Hail, Temset, who comest forth from Tatu. I have not uttered curses on the king. 36. Hail, thou whose heart doth labor, who comest forth from the city of Tebti. I have not fouled water. 37. Hail, Ahi of the water, who comest forth from Nu. I have not made haughty my voice. 38. Hail, thou who givest commands to mankind, who comest forth from Sao. I have not cursed the god. 39. Hail, Neheb Nefert, who comest forth from the lake of Nefer. I have not behaved with insolence. 40. Hail, Neheb Kau, who comest forth from thy city. I have not sought for distinctions. 41. Hail, thou whose head is holy, who comest forth from thy habitations. I have not increased my wealth, except with such things as are justly mine own possessions. 42. Hail, thou who bringest thine own arm, who comest forth from Alkert, underworld. I have not thought scorn of the god who is in my city. Address to the gods of the underworld. Vignette: the deceased standing with both hands raised in adoration. Text: Then shall the heart which is righteous and sinless say: The overseer of the palace, the chancellor in chief, Nu, triumphant, saith: Homage to you, O ye gods, who dwell in the hall of double Maati. I, even I, know you, and I know your names. Let me not fall under your knives of slaughter, and bring ye not forward my wickedness unto the God in whose train ye are, and let not evil hap come upon me by your means. O declare ye me right and true in the presence of Nebuchadnezzar, because I have done that which is right and true in Tamara, Egypt. I have not cursed God, and let not evil hap come upon me through the king who dwelleth in my day. Homage to you, O ye gods, who dwell in the hall of Double Maati, who are without evil in your bodies, and who live upon right and truth, and who feed yourselves upon right and truth in the presence of the god Horus, who dwelleth in his divine disk. Deliver ye me from the god Baba, who feedeth upon the entrails of the mighty ones upon the day of the great judgment. O grant ye that I may come to you, for I have not committed faults, I have not sinned, I have not done evil, I have not borne false witness, therefore let nothing evil be done unto me. I live upon right and truth, and I feed upon right and truth. I have performed the commandments of men as well as the things whereat are gratified the gods. I have made the God to be at peace with me by doing that which is his will. I have given bread to the hungry man, and water to the thirsty man, and apparel to the naked man, and a boat to the shipwrecked mariner. I have made holy offerings to the gods, and sepulchral meals to the Khus. Be ye then my deliverers, be ye then my protectors, and make ye not accusation against me in the presence of the great God. I am clean of mouth and clean of hands, therefore let it be said unto me by those who shall behold me, come in peace, for I have heard that mighty word which the spiritual bodies Sahu spake unto the cat in the house of Hapt Re. I have been made to give evidence before the god Raph, that is, he whose face is behind him, and he hath given a decision concerning me. I have seen the things over which the Persea tree spreadeth its branches within Re stau. I am he who hath offered up prayers to the gods, and who knoweth their persons. I have come and I have advanced to make the declaration of right and truth, and to set the balance upon what supporteth it within the region of Aukert. Hail, thou who art exalted upon thy standard, thou lord of the Atafu crown, whose name is proclaimed as the Lord of the Winds. Deliver thou me from thy divine messengers, who cause dire deeds to happen, and who cause calamities to come into being, and who are without coverings for their faces. For I have done that which is right and true for the Lord of right and truth. I have purified myself and my breast with libations, and my hinder parts with the things which make clean, and my inner parts have been in the pool of right and truth. There is no single member of mine which lacketh right and truth. I have been purified in the pool of the south, and I have rested in the northern city which is in the field of the grasshoppers, wherein the divine sailors of Ra bathe at the second hour of the night and at the third hour of the day. And the hearts of the gods are gratified after they have passed through it, whether it be by night or whether it be by day. And they say unto me, Let thyself come forward. And they say unto me, Who then art thou? And they say unto me, What is thy name? I am he who is equipped under the flowers, and I am the dweller in his olive tree, is my name. And they say unto me straightway, Pass thou on. And I passed on by the city to the north of the olive tree. What then didst thou see there? The leg and the thigh. What then didst thou say unto them? Let me see rejoicings in those lands of the Tenku. And what did they give unto thee? A flame of fire, and a tablet or scepter of crystal. What then didst thou do therewith? I buried them by the furrow of Maat as things for the night. What then didst thou find by the furrow of Maat? A scepter of flint, the name of which is Giver of Winds. What then didst thou do to the flame of fire and the tablet or scepter of crystal after thou hadst buried them? I uttered words over them in the furrow, and I dug them out therefrom. I extinguished the fire, and I broke the tablet or scepter, and I created a pool of water. Come then, they say, and enter in through the door of this hall of double Maati, for thou knowest us. We will not let thee enter in through us, say the bolts of the door, unless thou tellest us our names. Tongue of the balance of the place of right and truth is your name. I will not let thee enter in by me, saith the right lintel of the door, unless thou tellest me thy name. Balance of the support of right and truth is thy name. I will not let thee enter in by me, saith the left lintel of the door, unless thou tellest me my name. Balance of wine is thy name. I will not let thee pass over me, saith the threshold of this door, unless thou tellest me my name. Ox of the god Seb is thy name. I will not open unto thee, saith the fastening of this door, unless thou tellest me my name. Flesh of his mother is thy name. I will not open unto thee, saith the socket of the fastening of the door, unless thou tellest me my name. Living eye of the god Sebek, the lord of Bakhau, is thy name. I will not open unto thee, and I will not let thee enter in by me, saith the guardian of the leaf of this door, unless thou tellest me my name. Elbow of the god Shu, when he placeth himself to protect Osiris, is thy name. We will not let thee enter in by us, say the posts of this door, unless thou tellest us our names. Children of the Uri goddesses is your name. Thou knowest us, they say, pass on therefore by us. I will not let thee tread upon me, saith the floor of the hall of double Maati, because I am silent and I am holy, and because I do not know the names of thy 2 feet wherewith thou wouldst walk upon me. Therefore tell them to me. Traveller of the god Kaz is the name of my right foot, and Staff of the goddess Hathor is the name of my left foot. Thou knowest me, it saith, pass on therefore over me. I will not make mention of thee, saith the guardian of the door of this hall of double Maati, unless thou tellest me my name. Discerner of hearts and searcher of the reins is thy name. Now will I make mention of thee to the god, but who is the god that dwelleth in his hour? Speak thou it, that is his name. Me'autaui, that is he who keepeth the record of the 2 lands, is his name. Who then is Me'autaui? He is Thoth. Come, saith Thoth, but why hast thou come? I have come, and I press forward that I may be mentioned. What now is thy condition? I, even I, am purified from evil things, and I am protected from the baleful deeds of those who live in their days, and I am not among them. Now will I make mention of thee to the god. Tell me now, who is he whose heaven is of fire, whose walls are surmounted by living uraei, and the floor of whose house is a stream of water? Who is he, I say? It is Osiris. Come forward then, verily thou shalt be mentioned to him. Thy cakes shall come from the Eye of Ra, and thine ale shall come from the Eye of Ra, and the sepulchral meals which shall be brought to thee upon earth shall come from the Eye of Ra. This hath been decreed for the Osiris, the overseer of the palace, the chancellor in chief, Nu, triumphant. Rubric: the making of the representation of what shall happen in this hall of double Maati. This chapter shall be said by the deceased after he hath been cleansed and purified, and when he is arrayed in apparel, and is shod with white leather sandals, and his eyes have been painted with antimony, and his body hath been anointed with unguent of Anti, and when he offereth oxen and feathered fowl, and incense and cakes, and ale and garden herbs, and behold, thou shalt draw a representation of this in colour upon a new tile moulded from earth, upon which neither a pig nor other animals have trodden. And if thou doest this, book upon it in writing, the deceased shall flourish, and his children shall flourish, and his name shall never fall into oblivion, and he shall be as one who filleth, that is, satisfieth the heart of the king and of his princes. And bread and cakes and sweetmeats and wine and pieces of flesh shall be given unto him upon the altar of the great God, and he shall not be turned back at any door in Amentet, and he shall be brought in along with the kings of Upper and Lower Egypt, and he shall be in the train of Osiris continually and regularly for ever. Chapter 126. Vignette: a lake of fire, at each corner of which is seated a dog-headed ape. Text: the overseer of the palace, the chancellor in chief, Nu, triumphant, the son of the overseer of the palace, the chancellor in chief, Amen hetep, triumphant, saith: Hail, ye 4 apes who sit in the bows of the boat of Ra, who convey right and truth, to Neber Tchur, who sit in judgment on my misery and on my strength, who make the gods to rest contented by means of the flame of your mouths, and who offer holy offerings to the gods and sepulchral meals to the Khus, who live upon right and truth, and who feed upon right and truth of heart, who are without deceit and fraud, and to whom wickedness is an abomination. Do ye away with my evil deeds, and put ye away my sin, which deserves stripes upon earth, and destroy ye any evil whatsoever that belongeth unto me, and let there be no obstacle whatsoever on my part towards you. O grant ye that I may make my way through the underworld, Amahet. Let me enter into Re stau, let me pass through the hidden pylons of Amentet. O grant that there may be given to me cakes, and ale, and sweetmeats, even as they are given to the living Khus, and grant that I may enter in, and come forth from Re stau. The four apes made answer, saying, Come, then, for we have done away with thy wickedness, and we have put away thy sin, along with the sin deserving of stripes which thou didst commit upon earth, and we have destroyed all the evil which belonged to thee upon the earth. Enter therefore into Re stau, and pass thou through the hidden pylons of Amentet, and there shall be given unto thee cakes and ale and sweetmeats, and shalt come forth, and thou shalt enter in at thy desire, even as do those Khus who are favoured of the god, and thou shalt be proclaimed or called each day in the horizon. Chapter 127a. Vignette. This version of the 127th chapter has not yet been found in the papyri containing the Theban Recension. In the Sa'ite Recension the deceased stands with both hands raised in adoration before a table of offerings placed in the presence of 6 gods, 3 standing upright and 3 seated, each of whom holds in his hands a flail and a scepter. The first god has the head of a bull, the second is jackal-headed, the third is snake-headed, the fourth is human-headed, the fifth is bull-headed, and the sixth is human-headed. The last 3 have feathers emblematic of right and truth on their heads. Text: The book of the praise of the gods of the Qerti, which a man shall recite when he cometh forth before them to enter in to see the god in the great temple of the underworld, and he shall say: Homage to you, O ye gods of the Qerti, ye divine dwellers in Amentet. Homage to you, O ye guardians of the doors of the underworld, who keep ward over the god, who bear and proclaim the names of those who come into the presence of the god Osiris, and who hold yourselves ready, and who praise him, and who destroy the enemies of Ra. O send ye forth your light, and scatter ye the darkness which is about you, and behold ye the holy and divine mighty one, O ye who live even as he liveth, and call ye upon him that dwelleth within his divine disk. Lead ye the king of the north and of the south, Usur Maat Ra Setep and Amen, the son of the sun, Ramzes Meri Aman Ra Bek Maat. Through your doors may his divine soul enter into your hidden places, for he is one among you, and he hath shot forth calamities upon the serpent fiend Apep, and he hath beaten down the obstacles which Apep set up in Amentet. Thy word hath prevailed mightily over thine enemies, O great God, who livest in thy divine disk. Thy word hath prevailed mightily over thine enemies, O Osiris, governor of Amentet. Thy word hath prevailed mightily over thine enemies in heaven and in earth, O thou king of the north and of the south, Usur Maat Ra Setep en Amen, the son of the sun, Ramses Meri Amen Ra Hek Maat, and over the sovereign princes of every god and of every goddess. O Osiris, governor of Amentet, he hath uttered words in the presence of the god in the valley of the dead, and he hath gained the mastery over the mighty sovereign princes. Hail, ye doorkeepers! Hail, ye doorkeepers who guard your gates, who punish souls, who devour the bodies of the dead, who advance over them at their examination in the places of destruction, who give right and truth to the soul and to the divine Khu, the beneficent one, the mighty one, whose throne is holy in Akert, who is endowed with soul like Ra, and who is praised like Osiris. Lead ye along the king of the north and of the south, Usur Maat Ra Setep en Amen, the son of the sun, Ramzes Meri Amen Ra Hek Maat, bolt ye for him the doors, and open ye the place of his Qerti for him. Behold, make ye his word to triumph over his enemies, and indeed let meat offerings and drink offerings be made unto him by the god of the double door, and let him put on the Nemi's crown of him that dwelleth in the great and hidden shrine. Behold the image of Heru Khuti Harmachis, who is doubly true, and who is the divine Soul and the divine and perfect Khu. He hath prevailed with his hands. The two great and mighty gods cry out to the king of the north and south, Usr Maat Ra, Setep, and Amen, the son of the sun, Ramses, Meri, Amen, Ra Hek Maat. They rejoice in him, they sing praises to him, and clap their hands. They accord him their protection, and he liveth, the king of the north and south, Usr Maat Ra, Setep, and Amen, the son of the sun, Ramses, Meri, Amen, Ra Hek Maat, riseth like a living soul in heaven. He hath been commanded to make his transformations. He hath made himself victorious before the divine sovereign chiefs, and he hath made his way through the gates of heaven, and of earth, and of the underworld, even as hath Ra, the king of the north and south, Usr Maat Ra, Setep, and Amen, the son of the sun, Ramses, Meri, Amen, Ra Hek Maat, saith, Open unto me the gates of heaven and of earth and of the underworld, for I am the divine soul of Osiris, and I rest in him, and let me pass through their halls. Let the gods sing praises unto me when they see me. Let me enter, and let favour be shown unto me. Let me come forth, and let me be beloved, and let me go forward, for no defect or failing hath been found clinging unto me. Chapter 127b. Vignette: 16 gods in 4 groups, each containing 2 pairs. Before each group is a table of offerings. Text: Chapter to be recited on coming before the divine sovereign chiefs of Osiris to offer praise unto the gods who are the gods of the underworld. Osiris, the chief scribe and draftsman, Ptah Mes, triumphant, saith: Homage to you, O ye gods who dwell in the Qerti, ye gods who dwell in Amentet, who keep ward over the gates of the underworld, and are the guardians thereof, who bear and proclaim the names of those who come into the presence of Osiris, who praise him, and who destroy the enemies of Ra. O send forth your light, and scatter ye the darkness which is about you, and look upon the face of Osiris, O ye who live even as he liveth, and praise ye him that dwelleth in his disk, and lead ye me away from your calamities. Let me come forth, and let me enter in through your secret places, for I am a mighty prince among you, for I have done away with evil there, and I have beaten down the obstacles which have been set up in Amentet. Thou hast been victorious over thine enemies, O thou that dwellest in thy disk. Thou hast been victorious over thine enemies, O Thoth, who producest statutes. Thou hast been victorious over thy enemies, O Osiris, the chief scribe and draftsman, Ptahmes, triumphant. Thou hast been triumphant over thine enemies, O Osiris, thou governor of Amentet, in heaven and upon earth, in the presence of the divine sovereign chiefs of every god and of every goddess. And the food of Osiris, the governor of Amentet, is in the presence of the god whose name is hidden before the great divine sovereign chiefs. Hail, ye guardians of the doors, ye gods who keep ward over their habitations, who keep the reckoning, and who commit souls to destruction, who grant right and truth to the divine soul which is stablished, who are without evil in the abode of Akert, who are endowed with soul even as is Ra, and who are as is Osiris. Guide ye Osiris, the chief scribe, the draftsman, Ptah Mes, triumphant, open ye unto him the gates of the underworld, and the uppermost part of his estate and his Qert. Behold, make ye him to be victorious over his enemies. Provide ye him with the offerings of the god of the underworld. Make noble the divine being who dwelleth in the Nemi's crown, the lord of the knowledge of Akert. Behold, stablish this soul in right and truth, and let it become a perfect soul that hath gained the mastery with its 2 hands. The great and mighty gods cry out, He hath gotten the victory, and they rejoice in him, and they ascribe praise unto him with their hands, and they turn unto him their faces. The living one is triumphant, and is even like a living soul dwelling in heaven, and he hath been ordered to perform his transformations. Osiris triumphed over his enemies, and Osiris, the chief scribe and draughtsman, Ptames, triumphant, hath gained the victory over his enemies in the presence of the great divine sovereign chiefs who dwell in heaven, and in the presence of the great divine sovereign chiefs who dwell upon the earth. Chapter 129. Vignette: the deceased standing before a table of offerings with both hands raised in adoration in the presence of the gods Osiris, Isis, Horus the son of Isis, and Nephthys. Text: a hymn of praise to Osiris. The Osiris Auf Ankh, triumphant, saith: Homage to thee, O Osiris Un Nefer, triumphant, thou son of Nut, thou first-born son of Seb, thou mighty one who comest forth from Nut, thou king in the city of Nefer Ur, thou governor of Amentet, thou lord of Abtu (Abydos), thou lord of souls, thou mighty one of strength, thou lord of the Atef crown in Suten Benin, thou lord of the divine form in the city of Nifu Ur, thou lord of the tomb, thou mighty one of souls in Tatu, thou lord of sepulchral offerings, thou whose festivals are many in Tatu. The god Horus exalteth his father in every place or shrine, and he uniteth himself unto the goddess Isis and unto the goddess Nephthys, and the god Thoth reciteth for him the mighty glorifyings which are within him, and which come forth from his mouth, and the heart of Horus is stronger than that of all the gods. Rise up then, O Horus, thou son of Isis, and avenge thy father Osiris. Hail, O Osiris, I have come unto thee, I am Horus, and I have avenged thee, and I feed this day upon the sepulchral meals of oxen and feathered fowl, and upon all the beautiful things offered unto Osiris. Rise up, then, O Osiris, for I have struck down for thee all thine enemies, and I have taken vengeance upon them for thee. I am Horus upon this beautiful day of thy fair rising in thy soul, which exalteth thee along with itself on this day before thy divine sovereign princes. Hail, O Osiris, thy Ka hath come unto thee and is with thee, and thou resteth therein in thy name of Ka Hetep. I maketh thee glorious in thy name of Khu, and it maketh thee like unto the morning star in thy name of Pehu, and it openeth for thee the ways in thy name of Apuat. Hail, O Osiris, I have come unto thee, and I have set thine enemies under thy feet in every place, and thou art triumphant in the presence of the company of the gods and of the divine sovereign chiefs. Hail, O Osiris, thou hast received thy scepter and the place whereon thou art to rest, and thy steps are under thee. Thou bringest food to the gods, and thou bringest sepulchral meals unto those who dwell in their tombs. Thou hast given thy might unto the gods, and thou hast created the great God. Thou hast thy existence with them in their spiritual bodies. Thou gatherest thyself unto all the gods, and thou hearest the word of right and truth on the day when offerings to this god are ordered on the festivals of Uka. Chapter 129. See Chapter 100. Chapter 130. Vignette: in the Papyrus of Nu, this chapter has no vignette, but in the Sa'ite Recension the deceased is seen standing in the stern of a boat behind Ra and two other gods. Text: another chapter of making perfect the Khu which is to be recited on the birthday of Osiris, and of making to live the soul for ever. The Chancellor Chief, Nu, triumphant, saith: the heavens are opened, the earth is opened, the west is opened, the east is opened, the southern half of heaven is opened, the northern half of heaven is opened, the doors are opened, and the gates are thrown wide open to Ra as he cometh forth from the horizon. The Sektet boat openeth for him the double doors, and the Matet boat bursteth open for him the gates. He breatheth, and the god Shu cometh into being, and he createth the goddess Temut. Those who are in the following of Osiris follow in his train, and the overseer of the palace, the chancellor in chief, Nu, triumphant, followeth on in the train of Ra. He taketh his iron weapon, and he forceth open the shrine even as doth Horus, and pressing onwards he advanceth unto the hidden things of his habitation with the libations of his divine shrine, the messenger of the god that loveth him. The Osiris Nu, the overseer of the palace, the chancellor in chief, triumphant, bringeth forth the right and the truth, and he maketh to advance the going forward of Osiris. The Osiris Nu, the overseer of the palace, the chancellor in chief, triumphant, taketh in his hands the cordage, and he bindeth fast the shrine. Storms are the things which he abominateth. Let no water flood be nigh unto him. Let not the Osiris Nu, the overseer of the palace, the chancellor in chief, triumphant, be repulsed before Ra, and let him not be made to turn back. For behold, the Eye is in his two hands. Let not the Osiris Nu, the overseer of the palace, the chancellor in chief, triumphant, walk in the valley of darkness. Let him not enter into the lake of those who are evil, and let him have no existence among the damned, even for a moment. Let not the Osiris Nu fall headlong among those who would lead him captive, and let not his soul go in among them. Let his divine face take possession of the place behind the block of the god Septu. Hymns of praise be unto you, O ye divine beings of the Thigh. The Knives of God work in secret, and the two arms and hands of God cause the light to shine. It is doubly pleasant unto him to lead the old unto him along with the young at his season. Now behold, the god Thoth dwelleth within his hidden places, and he performeth the ceremonies of libation unto the god who reckoneth millions of years. And he maketh a way through the firmament, and he doeth away with storms and whirlwinds from his stronghold. And the Osiris Nu, the overseer of the palace, the chancellor in chief, triumphant, arriveth in the places of his habitations. O ye divine beings of the Thigh, do ye away with his sorrow, and his suffering, and his pain, and may the sorrow of the Osiris Nu be altogether put away. Let the Osiris Nu, the overseer of the palace, the chancellor in chief, triumphant, gratify Ra. Let him make a way into the horizon of Ra. Let his boat be made ready for him. Let him sail on happily, and let Thoth put light into his heart. Then shall the Osiris Nu, triumphant, praise and glorify Ra, and Ra shall hearken unto his words, and he shall beat down the obstacles which come from his enemies. I have not been shipwrecked, I have not been turned back in the horizon, for I am Ra Osiris, and the Osiris Nu, the overseer of the palace, the chancellor in chief, shall not be shipwrecked in the great boat. Behold him whose face is in the god of the Thigh, because the name of Ra is in the body of the Osiris Nu, the overseer of the palace, the chancellor in chief, and his honour is in his mouth. He shall speak unto Ra, and Ra shall hearken unto his words. Hymns of praise unto thee, O Ra, in the horizon, and homage unto thee, O thou that purifiest with light the denizens of heaven, O thou who hast sovereign power over heaven at that supreme moment when the paddles of thine enemies move with thee. The Osiris Nu, the overseer of the palace, the chancellor in chief, triumphant, cometh with the ordering of right and truth, for there is an iron firmament in Amentet which the fiend Apep hath broken through with his storms before the double Lion god, and this will the Osiris Nu set in order. O hearken ye, ye who dwell upon the top of the throne of majesty. The Osiris Nu shall come in among thy divine sovereign chiefs, and Ra shall deliver him from Apep each day, so that he may not come nigh unto him, and he shall make himself vigilant. The Osiris Nu shall have power over the things which are written. He shall receive sepulchral meals, and the god Thoth shall provide him with the things which should be prepared for him. The Osiris Nu maketh right and truth to go round about the bows in the great boat, and hath triumph among the divine sovereign chiefs, and he establisheth for millions of years. The divine chiefs guide him, and give unto him a passage in the boat with joy and gladness. The first ones among the company of the sailors of Ra are behind him, and he is happy. Right and truth are exalted, and they have come unto their divine Lord, and praises have been ascribed unto the god Neb Tchir. The Osiris Nu, the overseer of the palace, the chancellor in chief, triumphant, hath taken in his hands the weapon, and he hath made his way through heaven therewith. The denizens thereof have ascribed praises unto him as unto a divine being who standeth up and never sinketh to rest. The god Ra exalteth him by reason of what he hath done, and he causeth him to make of none effect the whirlwind and the storm. He looketh upon his splendours, and he stablisheth his oars, and the boat saileth round about in heaven, rising like the sun in the darkness. Thoth, the mighty one, leadeth the Osiris Nu within his eye, and he sitteth upon his thighs in the mighty boat of Khepera. He cometh into being, and the things which he saith come to pass. The Osiris Nu advanceth, and he journeyeth round about heaven unto Amentet. The fiery deities stand up before him, and the god Shu rejoiceth exceedingly, and they take in their hands the bows of the boat of Ra along with his divine mariners. Ra goeth round about, and he looketh upon Osiris. The Osiris Nu is at peace. The Osiris Nu is at peace. He hath not been driven back. The flame of thy moment hath not been taken away from him. O Ra, the whirlwind and storm of thy mouth have not come forth against him. He hath not journeyed upon the path of the crocodile, for he abominateth the crocodile, and it hath not drawn nigh unto him. The Osiris Nu embarketh in thy boat, O Ra. He is furnished with thy throne, and he receiveth thy spiritual form. The Osiris Nu travelleth over the paths of Ra at daybreak to drive back the fiend Nebit. He cometh upon the flame of thy boat, O Ra, upon that mighty thigh. The Osiris Nu knoweth it, and he attaineth unto thy boat, and behold, he sitteth therein, and he maketh sepulchral offerings. Rubric : this chapter shall be recited over a boat of the god Ra which hath been painted in colours in a pure place, and behold, thou shalt place a figure of the deceased in the bows thereof, and thou shalt paint a Sektet boat upon the right side thereof, and an Atet boat upon the left side thereof, and there shall be made unto them offerings of bread and cakes and wine and oil, and every kind of fair offering upon the birthday of Osiris. If these ceremonies be performed, his soul shall have existence, and shall live for ever, and shall not die a second time. The following is from the rubric to this chapter in the Sa'ite Recension. He shall know the hidden things of the underworld. He shall penetrate the hidden things in Neter Kertet, the underworld. This chapter was found in the large hall of the temple under the reign of His Majesty Hesepti, triumphant, and it was found in the cavern of the mountain which Horus made for his father Osiris, Un Nefer, triumphant. Now since Ra looketh upon this deceased in his own flesh, he shall look upon him as the company of the gods. The fear of him shall be great, and the awe of him shall be mighty in the heart of men, and gods, and Khus, and the damned. He shall be with his soul, and shall live for ever. He shall not die a second time in the underworld, and on the day of weighing of words no evil hap shall befall him. He shall be triumphant over his enemies, and his sepulchral meal shall be upon the altar of Ra in the course of each day, day by day. End of chapters 121 through 130. Chapters 131 through 140 of the Egyptian Book of the Dead by E. A. Wallis Budge. Chapter 131. Vignette. This chapter is without vignette, both in the Papyrus of Nu and in the Sa'ite Recension. Text: the chapter of having existence nigh unto Ra. The overseer of the palace, the chancellor in chief, Nu, triumphant, saith: I am that god Ra who shineth in the night. Every being who followeth in his train shall have life in the following of the god Thoth, and he shall give unto him the risings of Horus in the darkness. The heart of Osiris Nu, the overseer of the palace, the chancellor in chief, triumphant, is glad because he is one of those beings, and his enemies have been destroyed by the divine princes. I am a follower of Ra, and I have received his iron weapon. I have come unto thee, O my father Ra, and I have advanced to the god Shu. I have cried unto the mighty goddess. I have equipped the god Hu, and I alone have removed the Nebt god from the path of Ra. I am a Khu, and I have come to the divine prince at the bounds of the horizon. I have met and I have received the mighty goddess. I have raised up thy soul in the following of thy strength, and my soul liveth through thy victory, and thy mighty power. It is I who give commands in speech to Ra in heaven. Homage to thee, O great God, in the east of heaven. Let me embark in thy boat, O Ra. Let me open myself out in the form of a divine hawk. Let me give my commands in words. Let me do battle in my Sekhem. Let me be master under my vine. Let me embark in thy boat, O Ra, in peace, and let me sail in peace to the beautiful Amentet. Let the god Tem speak unto me, saying, Wouldst thou enter therein? The lady, the goddess Mihen, is 1,000,000 of years, yea, 2,000,000 years in extent, and dwelleth in the house of Urt and Nifert, and in the lake of 1,000,000 years. The whole company of the gods move about among those who are at the side of him who is the Lord of divisions of places. And I say, on every road and among these millions of years is Ra the Lord, and his path is in the fire. And they go round about behind him, and they go round about behind him. Chapter 132. Vignette: the deceased standing before a house and holding a long staff in his hand. In the Brocklehurst Papyrus, the soul of the deceased, in the form of a human-headed bird, is seen hovering over a house, by the side of which is a tree. Text: the chapter of causing a man to come back to see his house upon earth. The Osiris Ani saith, I am the lion god, coming forth with extended strides. I have shot arrows, and I have wounded the prey. I have shot arrows, and I have wounded the prey. I am the Eye of Horus, and I pass through the Eye of Horus at this season. I have arrived at the furrows. Let the Osiris Ani advance in peace. Chapter 133. Vignette: the god Ra, hawk-headed, and having upon his head the sun's disk, encircled with a serpent, seated upon a throne in a boat. In his right hand he holds a scepter, and in the left the emblem of life. Above him is the legend, Ra in his shrine. Before him, but outside the boat, stands Nebseni, who maketh adoration to Ra each day, with both hands raised in adoration. Text: the Book of Making Perfect, the Khu, which is to be recited on the day of the month. The Osiris Nu, the overseer of the palace, the chancellor in chief, triumphant, saith, Ra riseth in his horizon, and his company of the gods follow after him. The god cometh forth out of his hidden habitations, and food falleth out of the eastern horizon of heaven. At the word of the goddess Nut, who maketh plain the paths of Ra, whereupon straightway the prince goeth round about. Lift up then thyself, O thou Ra, who dwellest in thy divine shrine. Draw thou into thyself the winds. Inhale the north wind. Swallow thou the skin of thy net on the day wherein thou breathest right and truth. Thou separatest the divine followers, and thou sailest in thy boat to Nut. The divine princes march onwards at thy word. Thou takest count of thy bones, thou gatherest together thy members. Thou settest thy face towards the beautiful Amentet, and thou comest being renewed each day. Behold, thou art that image of gold, and thou dost possess the splendours of the disks of heaven, and art terrible. Thou comest being renewed each day. Hail, the horizon rejoiceth, and there are shouts of joy in the rigging of thy boat. When the gods who dwell in the heavens see the Osiris Nu, the overseer of the palace, the chancellor in chief, triumphant, they ascribe unto him, as his due, praises which are like unto those ascribed unto Ra. The Osiris Nu, the overseer of the palace, the chancellor in chief, triumphant, is a divine prince, and he seeketh the Ureret crown of Ra, and he, the only one, is strong in good fortune in that supreme body which is of those divine beings who are in the presence of Ra. The Osiris Nu is strong both upon earth and in the underworld, and the Osiris Nu is strong like unto Ra every day. The Osiris Nu shall not tarry, and he shall not lie without motion in this land for ever. Being doubly beautiful, he shall see with his two eyes, and he shall hear with his two ears. Rightly and truly, rightly and truly. The Osiris Nu is like unto Ra, and he setteth in order the oars of his boat among those who are in the train of Nu. He doth not tell that which he hath seen, and he doth not repeat that which he hath heard in the secret places. Hail, let there be shouts of joy to the Osiris Nu, who is of the divine body of Ra, as he journeyeth over Nu, and who propitiateth the ka of the god with that which he loveth. The Osiris Nu, the overseer of the palace, the chancellor in chief, is a hawk, the transformations of which are mighty or manifold. Rubric: this chapter shall be recited over a boat 4 cubits in length, and made of green porcelain, on which have been painted the divine sovereign chiefs of the cities, and a heaven with its stars shall also be made, and thus thou shalt have made ceremonially pure by means of natron and incense. And behold, thou shalt make an image of Ra in yellow color upon a new plaque, and set it at the bows of the boat. And behold, thou shalt place an image of the Khu, which thou dost wish to make perfect, and place it in this boat, and thou shalt make it to travel about in the boat, which shall be made in the form of the boat of Ra, and he shall see the god Ra himself therein. Let not the eye of any man whatsoever look upon it, with the exception of thine own self, or thy father, or thy son, and guard this with great care. Now these things shall make the Khu perfect in the heart of Ra, and it shall give unto him power with the company of the gods, and the gods shall look upon him as a divine being like unto themselves, and mankind and the dead shall look upon him, and shall fall down upon their faces, and he shall be seen in the underworld in the form of the radiance of Ra. Chapter 134. Vignette: the boat of the sun, before which stand the deceased and his daughter. On the bows is perched the hawk of Horus, with the crown of the south upon his head. In the boat are the gods Shu, Tefnut, Seb Nut, Osiris, Isis, and Hathor, human-headed, and Horus hawk-headed. In the Sa'ite Recension the gods in the boat are 9 in number, and behind them is the disk of the sun. Text: another chapter of making perfect the Khu. The Osiris Nu, the overseer of the palace, the chancellor in chief, triumphant, saith: Homage to thee, O thou who art within thy divine shrine, who shinest with rays of light, and sendest forth radiance from thyself, who decreest joy for millions of years unto those who love him, who givest their hearts' desire unto mankind, thou god Khepera within thy boat, who hast overthrown Apep. O ye children of the god Seb, overthrow ye the enemies of Osiris Nu, the overseer of the palace, the chancellor in chief, triumphant, and destroy ye them from the boat of Ra, and the god Horus shall cut off their heads in heaven where they are in the form of feathered fowl, and their hind parts shall be on the earth in the form of animals, and in the lake in the form of fishes. Every male fiend and every female fiend shall the Osiris Nu, the overseer of the palace, the chancellor in chief, destroy, whether he descendeth from heaven, or whether he cometh forth from the earth, or whether they come upon the waters, or whether they advance towards the stars. The god Thoth, the son of Aner, coming forth from the Anerti, shall hack them in pieces. The Osiris Nu is silent and dumb. Cause ye this god, the mighty one of slaughter, the being greatly to be feared, to make himself clean in your blood, and to bathe himself in your gore, and ye shall certainly be destroyed by him from the boat of his father Ra. The Osiris Nu is the god Horus, to whom his mother the goddess Isis hath given birth, and whom the goddess Nephthys hath nursed and dandled, even like Horus when he repulsed the fiends of the god Suti. And when they see the Ureret crown stablished upon his head, they fall down upon their faces and they glorify him. Behold, when men and gods and Khus and the dead see the Osiris Nu in the form of Horus with the Ureret crown stablished upon his head, they fall down upon their faces, and the Osiris Nu, the overseer of the palace, the chancellor in chief, triumphant, is victorious over his enemies in the heights of heaven and in the depths thereof, and before the divine sovereign chiefs of every god and of every goddess. Rubric: this chapter shall be recited over a hawk standing and having the white crown upon his head, and over figures of Tem, Shu, Tefnut, Seb, Nut, Osiris, Isis, Suti, and Nephthys, painted in yellow color upon a new plaque, which shall be placed in a model of the boat of the sun, along with a figure of the deceased whom thou wouldst make perfect. These shalt thou anoint with cedar oil, and incense shall be offered up to them on the fire, and feathered fowl shall be roasted. It is an act of praise to Ra as he journeyeth, and it shall cause a man to have his being along with Ra day by day, whithersoever the god voyageth, and it shall destroy the enemies of Ra in very truth, regularly and continually. Chapter 135. Vignette. This chapter has no vignette. Text: another chapter to be recited when the moon reneweth itself on the day of the month. The Osiris Auf Ankh, triumphant, saith: Osiris unfettereth, or as others say, openeth the storm cloud in the body of heaven, and is unfettered himself. Horus is made strong happily each day. He whose transformations are great or many hath offerings made unto him at the moment, and he hath made an end of the storm which is in the face of the Osiris Auf Ankh, triumphant. Verily he cometh, and he is Ra in his journeying, and he is the four celestial gods in the heavens above. The Osiris Auf Ankh, triumphant, cometh forth in his day, and he embarketh among the tackle of the boat. Rubric: if this chapter be known by the deceased, he shall become a perfect Khu in the underworld, and he shall not die therein a second time, and he shall eat his food side by side with Osiris. If this chapter be known by him upon earth, he shall be like unto Thoth, and he shall be adored by the living ones. He shall not fall headlong at the moment of royal flame of the goddess Bast, and the mighty princess shall make him to advance happily. Chapter 136a. Vignette. This chapter has no vignette in the Theban Recension. Text: another chapter of travelling in the great boat of Ra. The Osiris Nu, the overseer of the palace, the chancellor in chief, triumphant, saith: Behold now, O ye luminaries in Annu, ye people in Kher aba, the god Ka hath been born, his cordage hath been completed, and the instrument wherewith he maketh his way hath he grasped firmly. I have protected the implements of the gods, and I have delivered the boat Ka for him. I have come forth into heaven, and I have travelled therein with Ra in the form of an ape, and have turned back the paths of Nut at the staircase of the god Sebek. Chapter 136a. Vignette. In the Theban Recension this chapter has no vignette, but in the Sa'ite Recension the deceased stands in the boat of the god Ra, who is seated therein. Text: another chapter of making perfect the Khu. It shall be recited on the festival of Six. The Osiris Nu, the overseer of the palace, the chancellor in chief, triumphant, saith: Behold now, O ye luminaries in Annu, Heliopolis, ye people in Kher aba, the god hath been born, his cordage hath been completed, and the instrument wherewith he maketh his way he hath grasped firmly, and the Osiris Nu is strong with them to direct the implement of the gods. The Osiris Nu hath delivered the boat of the sun therewith, and he cometh forth into heaven. The Osiris Nu saileth round about in heaven, he travelleth therein unto Nut, he journeyeth along with Ra, and he voyageth therein in the form of apes. He turneth back the water flood which is over the thigh of the goddess Nut at the staircase of the god Sebaku. The hearts of Seb and Nut are glad, and repeat the name which is new. Un Neferu reneweth his youth. Ra is in his splendours of light. Unti hath his speech, and Io, the god of the inundation, is prince among the gods. The taste of sweetness hath forced a way into the heart of the destitute one, and the lord of thy outcries hath been done away with, and the oars of the company of the gods are in vigorous motion. Adored be thou, O divine soul, who art endowed more than the gods of the south and north in their splendours. Behold, grant thou that the Osiris Nu may be great in heaven, even as thou art great among the gods. Deliver thou him from every evil and murderous thing which may be wrought upon him by the fiend, and fortify thou his heart. Grant thou, moreover, that the Osiris Nu may be stronger than all the gods, all the Khus, and all the dead. The Osiris Nu is strong, and is the lord of powers. The Osiris Nu is the lord of right and truth, which the goddess Uatchit worketh. The strength which protects the Osiris Nu is the strength which protects the god Ra in heaven. O god Ra, grant thou that the Osiris Nu may travel on in thy boat in peace, and do thou prepare a road whereon thy boat may journey onwards, for the force which protecteth Osiris is the force which protecteth thee. The Osiris Nu driveth back the crocodile from Ra day by day. The Osiris Nu cometh even as doth Horus in the splendours of the horizon of heaven, and he directeth Ra through the mansions of the sky. The gods rejoice greatly when the Osiris Nu repulseth the crocodile. The Osiris Nu hath the amulet of the god, and the cloud of Nebet shall not come nigh unto him, and the divine guardians of the mansions of the sky shall not destroy him. The Osiris Nu is a divine being whose face is hidden, and he dwelleth within the great house as the chief of the shrine of the god. The Osiris Nu carrieth the words of the gods to Ra, and he cometh and maketh supplication unto the divine Lord with the words of his message. The Osiris Nu is strong of heart, and he maketh his offering at the moment among those who perform the ceremonies of sacrifice. Rubric: this chapter shall be said over a figure of the deceased which shall be placed in a model of the boat of the sun, and behold, he that reciteth it shall be washed and shall be ceremonially pure, and he shall have burnt incense before Ra, and shall have offered wine and cakes and roasted fowl for the journey of the deceased in the boat of Ra. Now every Khu for whom such things are done shall have an existence among the living ones, and he shall never perish, and he shall have a being like unto that of the holy god. No evil thing whatsoever shall attack him, and he shall be like unto a happy Khu in Amentet, and he shall not die a second time. He shall eat and he shall drink in the presence of Osiris each day. He shall be born along with the kings of the north and of the south each and every day. He shall quaff water at the fountain head. He shall come forth by day even as doth Horus. He shall live and shall become like unto God, and he shall be hymned by the living ones even as is Ra each and every day, continually and regularly forever. Chapter 136b. Vignette: a boat in which is the head of a hawk, emblematic of Ra, whereupon is a disk encircled by a serpent. Over the bows and stern are utchats, or symbolic eyes. Text: the chapter of sailing in the great boat of Ra to pass over the circle of bright flame. The Osiris Nu, the overseer of the palace, the chancellor in chief, triumphant, saith: "Hail, ye bright and shining flames that keep your place behind Ra, and which slay behind him! The boat of Ra is in fear of the whirlwind and the storm. Shine ye forth, then, and make ye yourselves visible. I have come daily along with the god Sekhra from the bight of his holy lake, and I have seen the Maat goddesses pass along, and the lion gods who belong unto them. Hail, thou that dwellest in the coffer, who hast multitudes of plants! I have seen what is there. We rejoice, and their princes rejoice greatly, and their lesser gods are glad. I have made a way in front of the boat of Ra. I have lifted myself up into his divine disk. I shine brightly through his splendours. He hath furnished himself with the things which are his, taking possession thereof as the Lord of right and truth. And behold, O ye company of the gods, and thou ancestor of the goddess Isis, grant ye that he may bear testimony to his father, the lord of those who are therein. I have weighed thee in him as chief, and I have brought to him the goddess Tefnut, and he liveth. Behold, come, come, and declare before him the testimony of right and truth of the Lord Tem. I cry out at eventide, and at his hour, saying, Grant ye unto me that I may come. I have brought unto him the jaws of the passages of the tomb. I have brought unto him the bones which are in Anu, Heliopolis. I have gathered together for him his manifold parts. I have driven back for him the serpent fiend Apep. I have spit upon his gashes for him. I have made my road, and I have passed in among you. I am he who dwelleth among the gods. Come, let me pass onwards in the boat of the Lord Sa. Behold, O Heru there is a flame, but the fire hath been extinguished. I have made my road, O ye divine fathers, and your divine apes. I have entered upon the horizon, and I have passed on to the side of the divine princes, and I have borne testimony unto him that dwelleth in his divine boat. I have gone forward over the circle of bright flame, which is behind the lord of the lock of hair, which moveth round about. Behold, ye who cry out over yourselves, ye worms in your hidden places, grant ye that I may pass onwards, for I am the mighty one, the Lord of divine strength, and I am the spiritual body, Saw, of the Lord of divine right and truth, made by the goddess Uatchit. His strength which protecteth is my strength, which protecteth, which is the strength which protecteth Ra. Grant ye that I may be in the following of Ra, and grant ye that I may go round about with him in Sekhet Hetep and in the two lands. I am a great god, and I have been judged by the company of his gods. Grant that divine sepulchral meals may be given unto me. Chapter 137a. Vignette: Four men, each holding a flame, standing in the presence of a god before whom are four pools or lakes. Text: The Chapter of the four blazing flames which are made for the khu. Behold, thou shalt make four square troughs of clay, whereon thou shalt scatter incense, and thou shalt fill them with the milk of a white cow, and by means of these thou shalt extinguish the flame. The Osiris Nu, the overseer of the palace, the chancellor in chief, triumphant, saith: The fire cometh to thy ka, O Osiris, governor of Amenti. The fire cometh to thy ka, O Osiris Nu, the overseer of the palace, the chancellor in chief, triumphant. He that ordereth the night cometh after the day. The flame cometh to thy ka, O Osiris, governor of those in Amenti. And the two sisters of Ra come likewise. Behold, the flame riseth in Abtu (Abydos), and it cometh, and I cause it to come to the Eye of Horus. It is set in order upon thy brow, O Osiris, governor of Amenti, and it is fixed within thy shrine, and riseth upon thy brow. It is set in order upon thy breast, O Osiris Nu, and it is fixed upon thy brow. The Eye of Horus is protecting thee, O Osiris, governor of Amenti, and it keepeth thee in safety. It casteth down headlong all thine enemies for thee, and all thine enemies have fallen headlong before thee. O Osiris Nu, the Eye of Horus protecteth thee, it keepeth thee in safety, and it casteth down headlong all thine enemies. Thine enemies have fallen down headlong before thy ka, O Osiris, governor of Amenti. The Eye of Horus protecteth thee, it keepeth thee in safety, and it hath cast down headlong all thine enemies. Thine enemies have fallen down headlong before thy ka, O Osiris Nu, the overseer of the palace, the chancellor in chief, triumphant. The Eye of Horus protecteth thee, it keepeth thee in safety, it hath cast down headlong for thee all thine enemies, and thine enemies have fallen down headlong before thee. The Eye of Horus cometh, it is sound and well, and it sendeth forth rays like unto Ra in the horizon. It covereth over with darkness the powers of Suti. It taketh possession thereof, and it bringeth this flame against him upon its feet. The Eye of Horus is sound and well. Thou eatest the flesh of thy body by means thereof, and thou givest praise thereto. The four flames enter into thy ka, O Osiris, governor of Amenti. The four flames enter into thy ka, O Osiris Nu, the overseer of the palace, the chancellor in chief, triumphant. Hail, ye children of Horus! Mesthi, Hapi, Tuamautef, and Qebhsennuf, ye have given your protection unto your divine father Osiris, the governor of Amenti, grant ye your protection to the Osiris Nu triumphant. Now therefore, inasmuch as ye have destroyed the opponents of Osiris, the governor of Amenti, he liveth with the gods, and he hath smitten Suti with his hand and arm since light dawned upon the earth. And Horus hath gotten power, and he hath avenged his divine father Osiris himself. And inasmuch as your divine father hath been made vigorous through the union which ye have effected for him with the Ka of Osiris, the governor of Amenti, now the eye of Horus hath avenged him, and it hath protected him, and it hath cast down headlong for him all his enemies, and all his enemies have fallen down before him. Even so do ye destroy the opponents of the Osiris Nu, the overseer of the palace, the chancellor in chief, triumphant. Let him live with the gods, let him smite down his enemy, let him destroy him when light dawneth upon the earth. Let Horus gain power, and avenge the Osiris Nu. Let the Osiris Nu have vigor through the union which ye have effected for him with his Ka. O Osiris Nu, the eye of Horus hath avenged thee, it hath cast down headlong all thine enemies for thee, and all thine enemies have fallen down headlong before thee. Hail, Osiris, governor of Amenti, grant thou light and fire to the happy soul which is in Suten Henen, Heracleopolis. And, O ye children of Horus, grant ye power unto the living soul of the Osiris Nu within his flame. Let him not be repulsed, and let him not be driven back at the doors of Amentet. O let his offerings of bread and of linen garments be brought unto him among those of the lords of funeral oblations. O offer ye praises as unto a god to the Osiris Nu, destroyer of his opponents, in his form of right and truth, and in his attributes of a god of right and truth. Rubric: this chapter shall be recited over 4 fires made of Atma cloth, which hath been anointed with Hatet unguent of the Hennu, and they shall be placed in the hands of 4 men, who shall have the names of the pillars of Horus written upon their shoulders, and they shall burn the fires in the beautiful rays of Ra. This shall confer power and might upon the Khu among the stars which never set. If this chapter be recited for him, he shall never fail, and he shall become a living soul forever, and these fires shall make the Khu as vigorous as Osiris, the governor of Amenti, regularly and continually forever. It is a great struggle. Thou shalt not perform this ceremony before any human being except thine own self, or thy father, or thy son, because it is an exceedingly great mystery of Amentet, and it is a type of the hidden things of the underworld. For when this ceremony hath been performed, the gods and the Khus and the dead shall see him in the form of the governor of Amenti, and he shall have power and dominion like this god. If thou shalt undertake to perform for him what is ordered in this chapter of the 4 blazing flames each day, thou wilt cause the form of the deceased to come forth from every hall in the underworld, and from the 7 halls of Osiris, and he shall have an existence in the form of the god. He shall have power and dominion corresponding to that of the gods and the Khus for ever and ever. He shall enter in through the hidden pylons, and shall not be turned back before the god Osiris. And it shall come to pass, if these things have been done for him, that he shall enter in and come forth. He shall not be turned back. No limit to his journeying shall be set, and he shall not have sentence of evil passed upon him on the day of the weighing of words before the god Osiris for ever and ever. And thou shalt perform what is ordered in this book for the deceased, and he shall become perfect and pure, and thou shalt open his mouth with the iron instrument, and shalt write down these writings in accordance with the things which are found in the books of the royal son Heru Tata-F, who discovered them in a hidden chest. Now they were in the handwriting of the god himself, in the temple of the goddess Unut, the lady of Unu, Hermopolis, during his journey to make an inspection of the temples and of the lands and of the funeral shrines of the gods. And these things shall be done secretly in the underworld. They are mysteries of the underworld, and they are a type of the mysteries of Neter Khert. And thou shalt say, I have come advancing quickly and casting light upon his footsteps, and hiding myself to cast light upon his hidden place. I stand up behind the Tet. I stand up behind the Tet of Ra, turning back the slaughter. I am protecting thee, O Osiris. Rubric: this chapter shall be recited over a Tet of crystal, which is set upon a brick made of green clay, whereupon hath been inscribed this chapter. Then thou shalt make a cavity in the west wall, and having turned the front of the Tet towards the east, therein thou shalt wall it up with earth moistened with cedar juice. It will repulse the enemies of Osiris, who set themselves at the east wall. And thou shalt say, I have driven back thy foes, and I have kept watch for thee. And he that is upon his mountain, that is Anubis, hath kept watch at thy moment, and hath repulsed thy foes for thee. I have driven back Crocodile for thee at thy moment, and I am protecting thee, O Osiris Nu, the overseer of the palace, the chancellor in chief, triumphant. Rubric: this chapter shall be recited over a figure of Anubis made of green clay, kneaded with incense, and set up on a brick of green clay, whereupon it hath been inscribed. Then thou shalt make a cavity in the east wall, and having turned the face of Anubis towards the west, therein thou shalt wall it up. It will repulse the enemies of Osiris, who set themselves at the southwest wall. And thou shalt say, I am the collar or girdle of sand around the hidden coffer, turning back the arm from the blazing flame of the funeral mountain. I have marched over the roads, and I am protecting the Osiris Nu, the overseer of the palace, the chancellor in chief, triumphant. Rubric: this chapter shall be recited over a brick of green clay, whereupon it hath been inscribed. And thou shalt place incense in the middle thereof, and thou shalt smear it with pitch or resin, and set light to it. Then thou shalt make a cavity in the south wall, and having turned the front of the brick towards the north, therein thou shalt wall it up. It will repulse the enemies of Osiris, who set themselves at the north wall. And thou shalt say, O thou that comest to make a burning, I will not let thee do it. O thou that comest to shoot forth fire, I will not let thee do it. I will burn thee, I will shoot forth fire at thee, for I am protecting the Osiris Nu, the overseer of the palace, the chancellor in chief, triumphant. Rubric: this chapter shall be recited over a brick of green clay, whereupon it hath been inscribed, along with a figure of a palm tree 7 fingers in height. And thou shalt open its mouth. Then thou shalt make a cavity in the north wall, and having turned the face of the figure towards the south, therein thou shalt wall it up. It will repulse the enemies of Osiris, who set themselves at the south wall. And behold, these things shall be performed by a man who is clean and is ceremonially pure, one who hath eaten neither meat nor fish, and who hath not recently had intercourse with women. And behold, thou shalt make offerings of cakes and ale, and shalt burn incense on the fire of these gods. And every Khu for whom these things shall be done shall become like a holy god in the underworld. He shall not be turned back at any gate in Amentet, and he shall be in the following of Osiris, wheresoever he goeth, regularly and continually. Chapter 137b. Vignette: the goddess Api, the lady who giveth protection, in the form of a hippopotamus, setting light to a vessel of incense. In the Sa'ite Recension, the deceased is seen sitting upon a chair with 2 burning lamps on each side of him. There the chapter is called Chapter of Making the Flame to Burn Up. Text: the Chapter of Kindling of Flame by Nebseni, the scribe and draughtsman in the temple of Ptah. He saith, the white or shining eye of Horus cometh. The brilliant eye of Horus cometh. It cometh in peace. It sendeth forth rays of light unto Ra in the horizon, and it destroyeth the powers of Set according to the decree. It leadeth them on, and it taketh possession of him, and its flame is kindled against him. Its flame cometh and goeth about, and bringeth adoration. It cometh and goeth about heaven in the train of Ra, upon the 2 hands of thy 2 sisters, O Ra. The eye of Horus liveth, yea, liveth within the great hall. The eye of Horus liveth, yea, liveth, and is on Mount F. Chapter 138. Vignette: the standard emblematic of the nome of Teni, the capital of which was Abydos, surmounted by plumes and uraeus, etc., being set up by Isis and Osiris. On each side, winged uchats, a fan or fly flapper held upright by an emblem of life, from which project human hands and arms. The hawk emblematic of Horus Sept, a ram having plumes above his horns, and 3 gods standing upright. On one side are the souls of Pe, and the jackal, emblem of Anpu, Anubis, or of Apuat, and on the other are the souls of Tep, and the jackal, emblem of Apuat, or of Anpu. Beneath the standard are the lion gods of the horizon, one of whom is called Yesterday, and the other tomorrow. Text: the chapter of entering into Abtu, and of being in the following of Osiris. The Osiris Nu, the overseer of the house, the chancellor in chief, triumphant, saith: Hail, ye gods who dwell in Abtu (Abydos), ye divine sovereign chiefs who are gathered together, come ye forward with joy and gladness to meet me, and look ye upon my divine father Osiris. I have been judged, and I have come forth from his shrine. I am Horus, the lord of Kempt, Egypt, and of the red hilly desert. I have taken possession thereof. There is none who hath power over him. His eye is mighty against his enemies. He hath avenged his divine father. He hath destroyed the water flood of his mother. He hath crushed his enemies. He hath put down violence mightily, and hath still the strength of the god Nebet. The divine prince of many peoples, the sovereign of the two lands, hath taken possession of the house of his divine father by means of the written decrees. I have been tried in the balance. My word is right and true. I have gained the mastery over my enemies, and bring to naught the things which they work against me. I am strong in the strength which protecteth me. I am the son of Osiris, and my divine father protecteth his body with strength and might. Chapter 139. See Chapter 123. Chapter 140. Vignette: the deceased kneeling with both hands raised in adoration before the jackal of Anubis, which is couchant on a pylon, a kneeling figure having an Utchat on his head, and the god Ra. Text: the book which is to be recited on the last day of the second month of the season Pert, when the Utchat is full in the second month of the season Pert. The Osiris Auf Ankh saith: the divine power hath risen and shineth in the horizon, and the god Tem hath risen out of the odour of that which floweth from him. The Khus shine in heaven, and Het Ben Benet rejoiceth, for there is among them a form which is like unto themselves, and there are shouts and cries of gladness within the shrine, and the sounds of those who rejoice go round about through the underworld, and homage is paid unto him at the decree of Tem and Heru Khuti (Harmachis). His Majesty ordereth the company of the gods to follow in the train of his Majesty. His Majesty ordereth the calling of the Utchat with you to my members. He hath given strength to all my limbs, and hath made them vigorous, that which cometh forth from the mouth of his Majesty. His divine eye resteth upon its seat with his Majesty at that hour of the night, on the day of the fulfilment of the fourth hour, or 4 hours of the beautiful land, on the last day of the second month of the season Pert. The Majesty of the Utchat is in the presence of the company of the gods, and his Majesty shineth as he shone in the primeval time, when the Utchat was first upon his head. Ra Tem Utchatep Shu Seb Osiris Suti Horus Menth Ba Raher Nehe Tehuti Naam Techeta Nut Isis Nephthys Hathor Nekhet Mert Maat Ampu and Tamescheta are the soul and body of Ra. The computation of the Utchat hath been made in the presence of the divine Lord of this earth. It is full to the uttermost, and it resteth or setteth. And these gods are rejoicing on this day, and they have their hands beneath them, and the festival of every god having been celebrated, they say: Hail, praise be unto thee, O thou who art as Ra! Rejoice in him, for the mariners of his boat sail round about, and he hath overthrown the fiend Apep. Hail, praise be unto thee, O thou who art as Ra, who maketh himself to come into being in the form of the god Khepera. Hail, praise be unto thee, O thou who art as Ra, for he hath destroyed his enemies. Hail, praise be unto Ra, for he hath crushed the heads of the children of impotent rebellion. And praise and rejoicing be unto the Osiris Auf Ankh triumphant. Rubric: this chapter shall be recited over an Utchat of real lapis lazuli, or of mock stone plated with gold, before which shall be offered every kind of fair and pure oblation, when Ra showeth himself on the last day of the second month of the season Pert. And thou shalt make another Utchat of jasper, and place it upon such part of the dead man's body as thou pleasest. And when this chapter hath been recited before the boat of Ra, the deceased shall be borne along with these gods, and he shall become one of them, and he shall be made to rise up in the underworld. And whilst this chapter is being recited, and likewise whilst the offerings are being made, at the time when the Utchat is full, 4 altars shall be lighted for Ra Tem, and 4 for the Utchat, and 4 for the gods who have been mentioned, and upon each of them shall there be bread cakes made of fine flour, and 5 white cakes and plants, and 5 white cakes and shy, and 5 bach, and of incense 1 measure, and of tek incense 1 measure, and 1 roasted joint of meat. End of chapters 131 through 140. Chapters 141 through 145 of the Egyptian Book of the Dead by E. A. Wallis Budge. Chapters 141 and 142. Vignette: the deceased, with hands raised in adoration, bowing before a table of offerings of every kind, or the deceased standing and offering incense and pouring out a libation before Osiris, or the god Osiris seated within a shrine on a throne, by the side of which stand Isis and Nephthys. On a lotus flower stand the 4 children of Horus, and on a standard is a jackal, emblematic of Anubis. These vignettes are figured by Naville, and differ entirely from the vignette which accompanies Chapter 142 in the Sa'ite Recension. Originally the text of Chapters 141 and 142 formed one composition, but it might readily be divided into 2 sections, viz., the list of the gods to whom a man was directed to make offerings for the benefit of his father and his son, and a list of the names of Osiris, and this is what the editors of the Sa'ite Recension actually did, and they emphasized the division by giving to each section a distinct title. Text: Here beginneth the book which a man shall recite for his father or for his son during the festivals of Amentet, whereby he shall make him perfect with Ra and with the gods, and whereby he shall have his existence with them. It shall be recited on the 9th day of the festival. Behold, the Osiris Nu, the overseer of the palace, the chancellor in chief triumphant, maketh offerings of cakes and ale, and oxen, and feathered fowl, and joints of roast meat, and he burneth incense. 1. To Osiris, the governor of Amenti. 2. To Ra Heru Khuti, Ra Hamarkhis. 3. To Nu. 4. To Maat. 5. To the boat of Ra. 6. To Temu. 7. To the great company of the gods. 8. To the little company of the gods. 9. To Horus, the lord of the Ureret crown. 10. To Shu. 11. To Tefnut. 12. To Seb. 13. To Nut. 14. To Isis. 15. To Nephthys. 16. To the temple of the Kas of Nebuchadnezzar. 17. To the raging one of heaven, who raiseth up the god. 18. To Aukert, dwelling in her place. 19. To the city of Met Khebetet, the Sahu of the god. 20. To the goddess greatly beloved with red hair. 21. To the goddess joined unto life with flowing hair. 22. To the goddess whose name is mighty in her works. 23. To the bull, the husband of the divine cow. 24. To the beautiful power of the beautiful rudder of the northern heaven. 25. To him that revolveth the guide of the 2 lands, the beautiful rudder of the western heaven. 26. To the god of light, who dwelleth in the temple of the Ashemu beings, the beautiful rudder of the eastern heaven. 27. To the dweller in the temple of the ruddy ones, the beautiful rudder of the southern heaven. 28. To Meshthi. 29. To Hapi. 30. To Tuam al Tef. 31. To Kebesenuf. 32. To the Atert of the south. 33. To the Atert of the north. 34. To the Sektet boat. 35. To the Atet boat. 36. To Thoth. 37. To the gods of the south. 38. To the gods of the north. 39. To the gods of the west. 40. To the gods of the east. 41. To the gods of the thigh. 42 to the gods of the funeral offerings, 43 to the great house, 44 to the temple of flame, 45 to the gods of the places of the dead, 46 to the gods of the horizon, 47 to the gods of the fields, 48 to the gods of the divine Perti, 49 to the gods of the divine Nesti, 50 to the roads of the south, 51 to the roads of the north, 52 to the roads of the east, 53 to the roads of the west, 54 to the doors of the underworld, 55 to the pylons of the underworld, 56 to the leaves of the hidden doors, 57 to the hidden doors, 58 to the guardians of the leaves of the doors of the Tuat underworld, 59 to the hidden faces who guard the roads, 60 to the guardians who give divine food, 61 to the guardians of the funeral mountains who give happy faces, 62 to the flaming beings who give forth fire, 63 to the divine burning altars, 64 to those who scatter and extinguish the flame of fire in Amentet, 65 to Osiris Un-Nefer, 66 to Osiris Ankhti, 67 to Osiris Lord of Life, 68 to Osiris Lord of Wholeness, 69 to Osiris Dweller in Peku, 70 to Osiris Orion Sa, 71 to Osiris Sa, 72 to Osiris Dweller in Temples, 73 to Osiris in Resenet, 74 to Osiris in Mehenet, 75 to Osiris Golden One of millions of years, 76 to Osiris Body Urpit, 77 to Osiris Ptah Lord of Life, 78 to Osiris Dweller in Re Stau, 79 to Osiris Dweller in the Funeral Mountain, 80 to Osiris in Adi, 81 to Osiris in Setet, 82 to Osiris in Netchefet, 83 to Osiris in Rezu, 84 to Osiris in Pe, 85 to Osiris in Neteru, 86 to Osiris in Sau the Lower, 87 to Osiris in Bakhet, 88 to Osiris in Sanu, 89 to Osiris in Rehenenet, 90 to Osiris in Apen, 91 to Osiris in Kephenu, 92 to Osiris Sekri in Pet She, 93 to Osiris Dweller in his city, 94 to Osiris in Pesk Re, 95 to Osiris in his habitations in the land of the north, 96 to Osiris in heaven, 97 to Osiris in his habitations in Re Stau, 98 to Osiris Netjesti, 99 to Osiris Atef Ur, 100 to Osiris Sekri, 101 to Osiris Governor of Eternity, 102 to Osiris the Begetter, 103 to Osiris in the water, 104 to Osiris in battle, 105 to Osiris Lord of everlastingness, 106 to Osiris Prince, 107 to Osiris Naiti, 108 to Osiris in Restau, 109 to Osiris upon his sand, 110 to Osiris Dweller in the hall of the cow, 111 to Osiris in Tananet, 112 to Osiris in Netabit, 113 to Osiris in Seah, 114 to Osiris in Beteshu, 115 to Osiris in Tepu, 116 to Osiris in Sau the Upper, 117 to Osiris in Nepert, 118 to Osiris in Shenu, 119 to Osiris in Henket, 120 to Osiris in Ta Sekri, 121 to Osiris in Shau, 122 to Osiris in Fat Heru, 123 to Osiris in Maati, 124 to Osiris in Henna. In the Sa'ite Recension, chapter 142 is much fuller than in the papyri extant which contain the Theban Recension. As there given, it is in a tabular form, and is divided into 6 sections, each containing 26 lines. It runs: Text: The book of making perfect the deceased, and of making him to advance with long strides, and to come forth by day in all the transformations which please him, and to know the names of the god Osiris in every place wherein he chooseth to be. The Osiris Auf Ankh, born of Sheret Amsu, triumphant, saith: 1. Osiris Un-Nefer, Osiris the living one, Osiris Lord of Life, Osiris Neber Cher, Osiris, opener of the back of the two lands, Osiris, dweller in Osiris, dweller in corn, Osiris Sa, Orion, Osiris, holy crown of the souls of Anu, Heliopolis, Osiris, dweller in Benenet, Osiris in Resenet, Osiris in Mehenet, Osiris, lord of millions of years, Osiris, son of the Erpeti, that is, Isis and Nephthys, Osiris Ptah, lord of life, Osiris, dweller in Restah, Osiris, governor of the world, dwelling in Tatu, Osiris, dweller in the funeral mountain, Osiris, holy soul in Tatu, Osiris in Ati, Osiris in Heset, or as others say, in Neterseh, Osiris, lord of Ta Ankh-Tet, that is, land of life, Osiris in Sao, Sais, Osiris in Netchet, Osiris in the south, or as others say, among the divine sovereigns chiefs, Osiris in Pe. 2. Osiris in Tept, Osiris in Netra, Osiris in lower Sao, Sais, Osiris in upper Sao, Sais, Osiris in An-Rut-F, Osiris in the two hawk gods, Osiris in Sanu, Osiris in Renan, Osiris in Aper, Osiris in Kefenu, Osiris in Sekri, Osiris in Petet, Osiris in his temple in Restau, Osiris in Nefer, Osiris in Netet, Osiris, dweller in his city, Osiris Henti, that is, Osiris of the two crocodiles, Osiris in Pekes, Osiris in his temple in the land of the south, Osiris in his temple in the land of the north, Osiris in heaven, Osiris on earth, Osiris upon his throne, Osiris in Atef-ur, Osiris Seker in the closed chest, Osiris, prince of eternity, in Anu. 3. Osiris the begetter, Osiris in the Sektet boat, Osiris in Ru-tu Nifu, Osiris, lord of eternity, Osiris, lord of everlastingness, Osiris in Tesher, Osiris in Neshet, Osiris in Ut Reset, Osiris in Ut Mate, Osiris in Aat Urt, Osiris in Apert, Osiris in Shenu, Osiris in Hekanut, or as others say, in Hesert, Osiris in Seker, Osiris in Shau, Osiris Fa Heru, Osiris in Upek, Osiris in Maati, Osiris in Mena, Osiris, souls of his father, Osiris, lord of the world, king of the gods, Osiris in Bener, Osiris Tai, Osiris on his sand, Osiris, dweller in the hall of his cows, Osiris in Sa. 4. Osiris in Sapti, Osiris in Ashur, Osiris in all lands, Osiris, dweller in the pool of the great double house, Osiris in Het Ben Benet, Osiris in Anu, Osiris the aged chief in Anu, Osiris in Hamak, Osiris in Akesh, Osiris in Pe of Nu, Osiris in the great temple, Osiris, lord of life in Abtu, Osiris, lord of Tatu, Osiris, dweller in the throne of his habitations, Osiris, prince in Abtu, Osiris, prince in the hidden place, Osiris in life in Het Ka Ptah, Osiris, lord of might, destroyer of the foe, Osiris, bull in Kemt, Osiris Aheti, Osiris Se, Osiris Heru Khuti, Tem, bull of the body of the great company of the gods, opener of the roads of the south, governor of the two lands, opener of the roads of the north, governor of heaven, Ptah, establisher of the holy seat of Ra. 5. One invoked in Het Ben Benet, Seb, prince of the gods, Heru Heru Kentet An Maati, Heru Sa Alset, Amsu Suten, Heru Nekht, An Mut F Ab Kenemu, Heru Hetep, Heru Sekhai, Heru Kentkati, Heru Tehuti, An Heru Ampu Keneter Se, Nut Isis, God in all her names, Re Sekhat, Shenthit, Hektit, Neshemet, boat, lord of eternity, Nit, Neith, Serket, Maat, Ha Hit, the four birthplaces in Abtu, great Meshken, Meshken, Sebkebet, Meshken, Menket. 6. Meshken, Nefert, Amseth, Hapi, Tuamatef, Keb Senuf, Urias, within the divine house, gods, guides of the Tuat, gods of the Kerti, Gods, goddess within Abtu, shrines north south, devoted ones of Osiris, Osiris dweller in Amentet, Osiris in his every place, Osiris in his place in the land of the south, Osiris in his place in the land of the north, Osiris in every place where his Ka wisheth to be, Osiris in all his halls, Osiris in all his creations, Osiris in all his names, Osiris in all his holdings, Osiris in all his risings, Osiris in all his ornamentations, Osiris in all his stations, Heru Nech Tef F in his every name, Ampu dweller in the Say hall in his every name, Ampu in the town of embalmment. Chapter 143. Chapter 143 consists of the vignette to Chapter 142, which is found in the Sa'ite Recension only. This vignette is divided into 5 sections: a woman standing upright with arms pendant, a hawk upon a standard placed in a boat, a man with his left hand raised as if in invocation, standing in a boat. Before him are 2 disks, one large and one small. The Sektet boat, wherein are 2 hawks upon standards. A man, the deceased, standing upright with both hands raised in adoration. Chapter 144. Vignette: the 7 Arits or mansions. Text: the chapter of entering in. The Osiris Nu, triumphant, saith: 1. The first Arit, Sekhet Ra Asht Aru, is the name of the doorkeeper of the first Arit. Semetu is the name of the watcher, and Hekeru is the name of the herald thereof. 2. The second Arit, Tunhat, is the name of the doorkeeper of the second Arit. Sekherah is the name of the watcher, and Sabes is the name of the herald thereof. 3. The third Arit, Amhuat, and Pef is the name of the doorkeeper of the third Arit. Resra is the name of the watcher, and Uaau is the name of the herald thereof. 4. The fourth Arit, Kesef Ra Ashkeru, is the name of the doorkeeper of the fourth Arit. Resab is the name of the watcher. Netekah Ra Kesef Atu is the name of the herald thereof. 5. The fifth Arit, Ankh Em Fentu, is the name of the doorkeeper of the fifth Arit. Ashabu is the name of the watcher, and Teb her Kehaat is the name of the herald thereof. 6. The sixth Arit, Akentau Ke Ha Keru, is the name of the doorkeeper of the sixth Arit. Anra is the name of the watcher, and Metis Ra Ari She is the name of the herald thereof. 7. The seventh Arit, Metesen, is the name of the doorkeeper of the seventh Arit. Keru is the name of the watcher, and Kesef Ra Kemu is the name of the herald thereof. Hail, ye Arits! Hail, ye who make the Arits for Osiris! Hail, ye who watch your Arits! Hail, ye who herald the affairs of the 2 lands of the god Osiris each day! The Osiris Nu, the overseer of the palace, the chancellor in chief, triumphant, knoweth you, and he knoweth your names. The Osiris Nu hath been born in Re stau, and every glory of the horizon and every honour have been given unto him. The Osiris Nu is in the city of Pe, like the pure being Osiris. The Osiris Nu hath received acclamations in Re stau, and the gods lead him over the horizon along with the divine princes who are behind Osiris. I am the divine one among them, and I am their leader. The Osiris Nu is a Khu, the lord of the Khus, a Khu who worketh. The Osiris Nu celebrateth the monthly festival, and he is the herald of the half-monthly festival. Hail, thou that revolvest! The Osiris Nu is under the fiery eye of Horus, and he is under the hand of Thoth on the night when he travelleth over heaven in triumph. The Osiris Nu passeth onwards in peace, and he journeyeth in the boat of Ra. The strength which protecteth the Osiris Nu is the strength which protecteth the boat of Ra. The Osiris Nu hath a name greater than yours, and he is greater than ye are on the path of Maat. The Osiris abominateth defeat. The strength which protecteth the Osiris Nu is the strength which protecteth Horus, the firstborn of Ra. He hath made his heart, and the Osiris Nu shall not be constrained, and he shall not be repulsed at the Arits of the god Osiris. The Osiris Nu hath been provided with all